Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! You're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
Hold up.
It is the Ticket Water Cooler time here on the Block with Strick and Bach, and the Ticket Water Cooler is sponsored. Yay! It is sponsored by Culligan Water, the official water cooler of 93.7 The Ticket. Actually, we've used them for 7 years now, so call them today to get your own water cooler for your office. Call today 402-251-2309 or go online to culliganlincoln.com.
Some Culligan water right here in this very hydro flask.
Oh, that's right.
Kept it in there overnight, still nice and crisp, delicious water.
Oh, it always has been. I usually, I remember in the past, worrying about it. It's just nice to be in the office knowing that there's always water there, right? I mean,
I understand
bring something in.
Well, I understand that Lincoln tap water is drink. You can drink it, but
yeah,
there's something about it that just tastes a little metallic. So to get it out of the the fountain, what do you call those?
Water jug, water cooler.
Out of the water cooler.
Yeah,
much better. You just feel better drinking.
Oh, it tastes so good. Yeah, you can drink as much as you want. You don't have to feel guilty about it whatsoever.
And if anyone who knows me around the office knows that I've recently developed a catchphrase: tell people to go drink some water after they leave. And I love water, so drink as much water as possible.
Why is that catchphrase?
It's because it's healthy for you. I'm just telling.
Oh, yeah.
I tell people to have fun, and I tell them to drink some water because I want you to have fun, whatever you're doing, and I want you to be healthy.
I have a friend that just recently told me he doesn't really drink water because he doesn't like the taste.
See, I don't like the taste either.
It's just water. There's not much taste to it.
I flavor my water.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
then that's all I drink is water. So I'm incredibly hydrated. I used to never drink water. Now it's the only thing I drink.
What did you drink when you didn't drink water?
You just try and avoid drinking anything. So
it's all together.
Yeah. So I would like drink water when I would do sports, because you're
you
dying and you don't really care what it tastes like. And then for dinner, I'd drink milk. I was a milk drinker at dinner. So
fair enough. But there's some things that doesn't pair with milk too well. Like if you're eating spaghetti, you don't want milk.
Absolutely, you want some milk.
you still go with milk there.
How are you supposed to have strong bones, Bach?
Chocolate milk. That's what I always did. I always tainted the milk and made it taste like a dessert. Chocolate milk's the best way to go. I still get that, and I get some weird looks if I order that because I don't really drink beer. I'm not a big alcohol drinker. So if we go out, usually I'll get like a Dr. Pepper so I don't look too strange, but or Mr. Pibb. More of a Mr. Pibb guy, but nobody really has Mr. Pibb. In any case, yeah, sometimes I'll order like chocolate milk and they'll think I'm like a child, or they bring me like a child cup of chocolate milk.
I wouldn't look at you weird. I love chocolate milk. There's one chocolate milk that they make in Fargo, North Dakota. It's called Cask-Calais Swiss style chocolate milk. The best you'll ever drink. It is the best.
I'll have to try something because I'm a connoisseur of chocolate milk.
I used to have a map that I would take with me on hockey weekends to figure out which gas stations in which towns could get me that chocolate milk or wouldn't give me.
Yeah. You were very dedicated.
Yeah, I like it wasn't hand drawn. I printed out a map in North Dakota and I highlighted it.
Are you more of a Hershey's guy or a Nesquik guy?
I avoid both at all costs. I don't know. Nesquik is okay. I haven't had a lot of. If it's the Nesquik powder, absolutely not. If it's syrup on both sides, you can't really go wrong because they taste exactly the same.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think so. I've always been a Nesquik guy. I think that little bunny on the front, I think he helps. I don't know what he does. They used to run commercials with him in it, but I don't really remember what he did. I remember the Trix Rabbit. He was always trying to keep his tricks away from the kids. But the Nesquik Rabbit, I think helped. I think he helped the cause. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And Hershey's doesn't have one. That's by the way, I was going to bring up this too, just because there's not too much going on. Our big topic is Husker basketball versus Ohio State postponed. So obviously we can talk for hours about a game that's postponed.
Yeah, we're thanking the Lord that we don't have to witness another Nebraska Ohio State beatdown tonight. That's what we're doing. It'll be another night where we can just, casually sip our Kool-Aid for the football off season.
Yeah.
Look
into our
Low Smo isn't leaving.
look
We got
over to our
Chubba,
3-9
We
team
got
for all the
Casey.
help.
We got Anthony Grant.
That's right.
Honestly, off-season national champs 4 years in a row.
You can extend that. It's basically every year you hype yourself up, and I used to do this, and especially the Bo Pelini era was fun because eventually you kind of got to the point where it's like, well, they'll probably win 9 or 10, so you would really just kind of combat yourself and talk yourself into 10 eventually by the time the summer hit.
Well, they always won the games that they
We're supposed to win.
Yeah. So you just got to convince yourself, hey,
Yeah.
Wisconsin, like the year Braxton Miller got hurt, I was like certain if Nebraska had to play Ohio State, we were taking them down because there's no way they have another guy as good as Braxton Miller. Oh no, they had 2 other guys as good as Braxton Miller.
Yeah,
and then they won.
plenty of
And then they
guys.
won the national
They
championship.
ended up moving Braxton Miller to wide receiver. That's
Yeah.
how good that quarterback room was. That was an amazing team and a fun time. But overall, I eventually get to the Kool-Aid. It usually takes till summer. I've had a hard time getting there the last couple of years, just because there hasn't been too much off-season noise or kind of acquisitions. And this year is completely different. And we'll talk about that too. At the top of the 4:00 hour, it's just how much Kool-Aid can you drink right now? Because as far as the spring game goes, it's weird. Because there's certain spring games you look forward to, like Coach Frost's first spring game, obviously bringing him back when Bo Pelini brought a cat on the field. But those sort of things, especially the cat thing, you didn't know that was coming. So there's just usually not, you're excited because it's football, but you're not going to get a whole lot of the spring game. This year, there's so many early enrollees, so many positions open. You haven't seen half the guys play, so you're going to really break it down through the spring game. I'm pumped for the spring game this year. It can't come soon enough.
Aren't we always pumped for the spring game?
Not like this, though. Now there's open positions, a quarterback battle, a bunch of guys that we've just never seen, basically, that we expect, which ones are going to hit and which ones aren't. You can drink the Kool-Aid and think every guy's going to end up being an all Big Ten player, but usually, even in the portal, you're hitting 50%, hopefully, for strong, help out of the portal as far as guys. And you expect when you go the JUCO route or the portal route, obviously guys that have played that they're ready for the Division I level, but that's not necessarily the case either. There's a few guys from the portal that they've grabbed that don't have a whole lot of experience.
What I'm keenly watching is what unproven / slightly obscure player is going to flash the spring game, like a Wyatt Mazur did
that's
his
always
first
good,
couple
yeah.
of years, or a Brody Bell. Those are the storylines I like to watch the spring game for, because you'll see this guy in the triple striped jersey just absolutely tearing up the defense. You're like, all right, who is this? Oh, we're going to see a lot of this guy. Never see him for the rest of the season. They're just completely gone. It's like they left the team. And then you get to him the next year. They do it again. Like, okay, this is his year. And then nothing. And then finally, senior year, Wyatt Mazur, we see a ton of him. Brody Belt, we saw a ton of him last year after flashing in the spring game 2 years prior. So if we want to know who's going to be the heart and soul of the team in 2 years, we need to watch the spring game this year.
I don't know if I would.
I think you could do
heart and soul.
I think you could do a betting pool on this. Honestly, it would be incredibly interesting. Like maybe limit it to only people from Nebraska that don't have scholarships. Just walk-ons from Nebraska. Who's going to flash? I think it'd be incredibly interesting.
It would be. It's hard to pick those guys out. But they show up every year. I like it can even happen with scholarship players. You might be too young for this, but Jamal Turner had a like an early first quarter touchdown, and it was his first season on campus, and he did a flip into the end zone, and he was wearing number 10. So we're all just going, that's Deshaun Jackson. That's the next Deshaun Jackson. And of course, it didn't play out that way. Always interested what it would have been like if Jamal Turner stayed at quarterback.
I remember the Tanner Lee spring game. I think he threw a flag route to JD Spielman on the money, 45 yards for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. I was just like, that's the connection right there. We're going national championship 3 years in a row with these two. And it was a lethal connection. JD Spielman was most receiving yards by a Big Ten freshman. And, Tanner Lee led the NCAA in interceptions and pick sixes. But yeah, I mean, it was
lethal as soon as they were down by 21 at least. Then they could really connect.
I mean, JD Spielman hit that year. Tanner Lee, not so much. But it was still, I remember very vividly that play. It wasn't like a Moss, but he threw it like right over the defender. Perfect ball. and I'd never seen a quarterback play that good in my entire life. After, obviously I had, because Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback's my favorite team, but that Tanner Lee play, I was convinced that we were winning the national championship.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever convinced of that, but I was certainly convinced that he was going to be, we always do this where we break down, you see a throw like that, you say, that's an NFL throw. You make it like a sideline route across the field. That's an NFL throw, and that separates those guys. The problem is you just get, maybe you can capably make one of those, but if you consistently can't, read the defense very well, then I think that, the NFL throw can only go so far, but it is impressive. I mean, you could put together a nice tape, I think, for Tanner Lee, especially. Just keep that scoreboard off of it, right? Don't let anybody know how much they were down. Him and J.D. Spielman, it did end up being a lethal connection. I don't want to pick on them too much because it was kind of, it wasn't fun, but they're former Huskers, so you still support them. But that didn't turn out. How weird is it that after, since switching to the 2003, switching over into 2004, going away from that option offense, a lot of the idea was, you're not going to be able to recruit NFL quarterbacks to that system if you stay in the option. And all these years later, they've had one quarterback drafted, and it was probably the worst quarterback amongst the groups that they had.
He had massive hands, okay? Dude had huge hands. And then he got drafted to the warmest weather city in America, where that doesn't matter. Qdoba guy, your answer is Bach. Bach is the biggest Kool-Aid salesman in this entire station.
And it's funny too, because I watch wrestling, so I use these terms, but I'm turning face, I suppose. I'm usually the heel, where I'll poke at why you think that they can win 8 or 9 games, and I'll poke at why that's not going to happen. But when they're 3-9, what am I doing if I'm just poking at like kicking a guy when he's down?
Yeah, it's already dead. So why beat it?
Well, I'd be like, there's no reason to, and I don't know. I think that I've talked about it before. They've done enough in this offseason for me to go, okay, this year 5 thing, it's worth it. They needed to get something, a proven offensive coordinator, or just kind of check off some of those boxes, right? That you wanted to see, that this was worth a year 5. They got a proven quarterback in. Those sort of things was going to be necessary for me to say this is worth saving money, basically, and going into year 5. So that, I can drink some Kool-Aid this offseason, but the weird thing is usually the Kool-Aid is getting you to the level of, I think they can win 8 or 9 games. I think they can compete in the Big Ten West. It's going to be hard to convince anybody that coming off a 3-9 season, back-to-back, basically worst teams in the Big Ten West in consecutive years. So my Kool-Aid is trying to get to convince myself and everybody else that we can win 6 or 7 games. Nebraska, not we. I don't really help too much, but Nebraska can win 6 or 7 games this year. And that's, I think, is the at least it has to be the bare minimum. I know separate people will say different things, maybe 7 games. But I think, and we'll talk about this later too, but I want to get your thoughts on it. I think if they win 6 games and if they get to a bowl game, that's not what we hope. It's not what we expect. But if you're being honest, it's hard to imagine that kind of just throwing all this stuff together is just going to work, and had midseason form from the beginning, right? So you're going to have to take some time, and really, more than anything, you're just going to have to show promise along with a bowl game to get moving. But I've seen some people say, 7 wins, that's got to be the bare minimum. I'm still thinking if you win 6 and you lose some close games, and you have some promise with this new package that you put together, it's going to be hard. I mean, that's improvement. You haven't done that in 5 years. I think that'll probably get it done for another year in this experiment, another go around for round 2 for Coach Frost.
I don't think it's like 7 wins as in 7-5. I think it's like if you get to 6-6, you need to win the bowl game. You need that bowl win.
But that's what we're putting it on. Whether you win a bowl game where half the people will be opted out.
Can you take another season of sub 500 football from Nebraska? Just frame it that way.
Yeah.
We were either above 500 or below 500.
But 6 and 7 compared to
above
7 and
500,
6.
that's definitive. That's better than his career percentage, his career win percentage in Nebraska. Below 500, that's basically what he's already been doing for us.
I know, but if it's 6 and 7, I mean, it's a big difference. It's kind of silly because these small things, like I can sit here and say 6 and 7 is not that bad, but 5 and 7, he's got to go, right? I mean, so it's because he wouldn't have made a bowl at that time. So you can. It's kind of funny just where we make our breaking points, but I think that there's just kind of this whole thought, and I keep repeating it because I believe it to be true. You have 1 year to fix this thing. You have 1 year at least to show promise, but that that one, kind of what Trev Alberts said, is this metric that he has, and now we're all just left to speculate what is that metric. And I think it's smart not to release. We need 7 wins, otherwise we're crashing this thing to the floor. Whereas maybe in the second half of the season you get a big win. Coach Whipple has things rolling with his quarterbacks. You're just gonna cut it off because you're 6-7, and even if there's promise and it's finally like the most promise you've had in the Frost era, you're just going to be done with it because we put this metric out preseason. I don't think so.
Listen, I want above 500. So that's the real mark. They're not the bowl win. The bowl win, who cares about the bowl? Okay, if they go 7-6 and lose the bowl, I'm okay with that. I just want to be above 500.
If they go 6-7 and lose the bowl, though, that's the situation I'm putting you in.
Yeah, if they lose the bowl, fire him.
What if someone
I was ready to fire him 2 years ago after the COVID season.
I know. Yeah, maybe shouldn't be asking you. I mean, I'm right there with you. After I've been stating all along, I would have waited till the season played out, and at 3-7, I wouldn't have made my decision. Yes, he's coming back for sure. I would have waited to see how it played out, and then probably after the way that Iowa debacle went down, I would have moved on. But
Corey texted in. I hope yes. No, it's not Corey. It's Chris.
We're happy for Chris too. Chris is on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. That's the Honda of Lincoln hotline. If you want to call in, Starter Heyman text line, same number, 402-464-5685. If you want to chime in on this discussion. Chris, how you doing?
Great. I've been called far worse than that. So, yeah, I mean, 6. If they go 6-6 with this really easy schedule, and then lose a bowl game, especially if they get whooped in the bowl game, I don't think that necessarily saves Frost's job. But I think a 7-win season does, whether it's the 7th win in a bowl game or they go 7-5 and lose in the bowl game. I mean, completely different scenarios. I mean, we're not playing a tough schedule. So, we should be able to win 7, maybe even 8 games. And hopefully get this thing going the right direction. But it's just sad that they can't develop quarterbacks, because that's what all this quarterback transfer portal stuff is. They're saying that we have no ability to develop quarterbacks. Adrian didn't in 4 years. We didn't develop Smothers, and Heinrich Harburg's not developing. So we got to go find somebody, because all these guys were, especially Smothers and some other guys were highly sought after 4-star quarterbacks. And our staff has not had any ability. So hopefully that changes with the new guy coming in, with the toilet paper guy.
Whipple. That's right.
Whipple. Yeah. Hopefully he changes that and turns another cheek, so to speak.
Yeah, so. There you go. I like the incorporation there at the end with the toilet paper guy. Thanks for the call, Chris. And I completely agree. I think 7 wins basically is going to get it done. There's no, it's hard to imagine a scenario in which it doesn't. Too much. I guess there is the possibility, and I've been saying this, with the easier schedule, there's a pretty good possibility they're not as good as they were last year at 3-9, right? What if they don't look as aesthetically pleasing? They don't score as many points. They just happen to have an easier schedule and win some games that they didn't this year, that they didn't capitalize on. But when they play the Michigans, they lose to Iowa and Wisconsin again. Those other things that Nebraska has not been able to get over. Maybe there's a possibility 7's not good enough either, but it'd have to be a pretty bad 7-win team, like a pretty ugly looking 7-win team.
I think Chris articulated what I was saying a little bit cleaner than what I was saying, but he said that 7 wins is kind of the mark, and if you get there in the bowl game, you're not going to split hairs over when it happened. Just because it was an extra game doesn't mean it's not the 7th win. So that's kind of what I was saying. If 7 wins is the benchmark, and Chris keyed on another point that I figure is kind of a universal thing, because we've talked it to death, but it is an easier schedule than it was last year, on the principle that you don't have, you're still playing a Big Ten schedule, and the Big Ten is still the best conference in football, but you're not playing the 3 best teams from the Big Ten East this year.
You gotta tone that down. You're playing the Big Ten West.
I just said the Big Ten was the best conference in
football. I know, but when you play in the Big Ten West, as much as I love the Big Ten West, and I really do, I like the style, I like the grittiness, there was one team ranked out of the Big Ten West by the end of the year, and it was Iowa, who just got shellacked by Michigan.
Why aren't you drinking my Big Ten Kool-Aid, Bach?
I will. I mean, I will as the offseason progresses, I suppose, because I do love the Big Ten West, but I have to. But I also, on the other hand, I'm just a realist, okay? The Big 12 North was not the Big 12 South. The Big Ten West still has not had a title holder. And what did it start? 2014? We're going to go a decade into it without the Big Ten West winning one of these titles, probably.
East, West, leaders, legends, doesn't matter. Big Ten, best conference in football. And
based on your agreement is because Purdue beat Tennessee, or your argument is because Purdue beat Tennessee, arguably in one of the bowl
Big
games?
Ten has 10 to 11 teams that are better than 10 to 11 teams in the SEC, just because the SEC has 2 to 3 teams that are better than the best 2 to 3 teams in the Big Ten.
That's a pretty big
means
deal.
Nothing.
I think it should be.
You can weight it however you want, but eventually our quantity will overcome their quality. Okay.
I do think that the Big Ten, those teams, like I said, kind of the gritty, the Iowas, the Wisconsin, the Minnesotas, it's more stable, right? You know what you're going to get from game to game, as opposed to kind of having some of those flashy offenses that maybe out in the Pac-12 when you go up against a Big Ten defense. And we've seen that in bowl games over the years. Just because it's not flashy doesn't mean it's not good, but it does seemingly have a ceiling to it to a degree, unless you can get the better athletes in play, which maybe Nebraska can. That's my blueprint all along, though, which I want to see if they go away from Frost, is look like a Big Ten West team, recruit better than a Big Ten West team. And I think from there you should be, I mean, that's a pretty good formula, I think, in this division.
You know who coaches a Big Ten style and knows how to win in the Big Ten?
Jim Harbaugh.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Luke Fickell.
Fickell, yeah.
One season as the interim coach at Ohio State, went 6-6. So he's already got a better season than Scott Frost in the Big Ten.
That's usually used against him.
So,
I guess in this case.
So Luke Fickell, I think Nebraska needs to take a hard look at the coach of Cincinnati, and he already missed out on his dream job in Notre Dame. That job went to Marcus Freeman, so I think there's a real shot there. Ryan Day doesn't look in trouble at Ohio State. Maybe he wants to get back into the best conference in football.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. It's weird because you have to question where Nebraska is right now. I mean, would Luke Fickell take that job? That doesn't seem like the big move he's probably waiting
when
for.
he was a college football player, Nebraska was a top team. That's still in his head.
I love the old coaches that come in and say that. Mark Whipple, I think, did that again. But the older guys that remember the history, I think Applewhite did it too, is just growing up talking about Nebraska. That gets us going. We like that.
That's the Kool-Aid right there.
That's the Kool-Aid. This is the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Culligan Water. Call today at 402-251-2309 or go online to CulliganLincoln.com if you need some water for your office or at home. We will take a quick break. When we come back on the Ticket Water Cooler on the block, we'll get into a little bit of the NFL playoffs in honor of Big Sky. Talk about some of our favorite Packers of all time. Amon Green, a lot of people's favorite Packer, was on the captain today. So tying it all together. We'll be right back here on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Another bitterly cold day on the way. After starting off near 0, we only climbed to around 17 this afternoon. Despite plenty of sunshine, a light south wind at around 10. Overnight, partly cloudy with a low down to around 4. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, but warmer. We'll see an afternoon high of around 31. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts. More celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Today on Hey Culligan, unnecessary contaminants. Here's the referee.
Hey Culligan, that's a flag on my water for flagrant foul taste.
Ooh, that's a tough one, ref, but the solution is a Culligan Smart RO drinking water system that reduces up to 58 contaminants, making your water safer and delicious.
Yeah, I guess I missed that call.
And with the Culligan Connect app, you always know when your filters need changing.
The water's up and it's good.
Good call, ref, and we're already on the way.
Try a Culligan water softener for just $9.95 per month. Go to CulliganLincoln.com.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Ticket Water Cooler brought to you by Culligan Water. Give Culligan a call if you're curious about getting your water softener salt delivered to your home or business. Call today at 402-251-2309 or go online to CulliganLincoln.com. I'm Jake Bachman. He is Big Sky, and we are getting through this hour as we await, of course, Eric Strickland, Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet, to join us at the 4 o'clock hour. And we've got a busy show on the block. Greg Hepburn, father of Chucky Hepburn, who's showing out there at Wisconsin. Of course, an in-state recruit from Nebraska that didn't end up going to Nebraska or a Nebraska school, Creighton or any of that. So we'll talk to him about kind of the what's going on in the O. I know Strick is very excited about a lot of the athletes coming out of Omaha and maybe how Nebraska can keep some of those guys around moving forward. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald also set to join us. Of course, we have Shootout with Strick, Hitting the Hardwood, all that fun stuff that we do typically on the block coming up today. But for now, we are on the Ticket Water Cooler, and I did want to bring this up because I do this with some of my co-hosts. I remember with Tom, I did my top 10 favorite Vikings because he's a big Vikings fan, just to kind of compare notes, I suppose, to somebody who is an actual fan of that team. So I'm going to do my top 10 favorite Packers. I know there's a lot of Packers fans around here, so it might be a segment that some people like. There's a lot of people that hate the Packers, so they might dislike it, but for me, at least, it's kind of going back and looking at some of the players that played there, and mostly a little preview to it is that I include ex-Huskers because I've been an Arizona Cardinals fan since like 1998. But they are not very successful often. So more than anything, I cheer for former Huskers in the NFL more so than even a team. So for a while there was a pretty heavy Packers cheer, or I guess supporter.
Yeah. Mud Dog, if you are listening today, we need your top 10 as well, since you're a significantly better Packer fan than me, in your opinion.
Why is he a better Packers fan?
I don't. Well, Mud Dog is named Kelsey, so we're unsure.
Yeah.
If it's a man or a woman, that would also be nice to know. But Mud Dog, they're a big fan of Aaron Rodgers. I came out hot against Aaron Rodgers this offseason on early break, and our relationship has been destroyed from there.
Has your relationship with your quarterback also been destroyed with Aaron? Are you not a big fan?
It's back, I guess.
That is how it is every offseason with Packers fans and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he upsets you in the offseason, threatens to leave, comes back, wins an MVP, and takes you to the NFC Championship game.
Corey, Jordan Love does not appear on my list. Spoiler alert. You have to do something to get on my list. I'm excited about him, but he's not a favorite Packer all time.
And I'll some of my others receiving votes. Mason Crosby, does he still kick for him?
Unfortunately,
he's been there for so long. I remember him kicking in Colorado. I think they had Ryan Longwell before then. I think between Longwell and Crosby, they might even outlast Favre and Rodgers for how long they've had two guys at the same position. I don't think quite, but it's pretty close to that. Another guy that I included pretty close to is Al Harris. I remember he made a big.
I hate Al Harris.
How do you hate Al Harris? He had like the game-winning interception return in the playoffs one year.
Yeah, but he also had like a game-sealing defensive pass interference against the Giants in the NFC Championship game one time, and that was like the first year I really cared about the Packers. And whoa, Al Harris, dead to me.
Jeez, you don't. I mean, he contributed pretty nicely to them over the years.
Not while I was paying attention.
I know. Even you don't. Do you do this with the Huskers too? I mean, you don't have this thing where if they suit up for your team, you're going to be loyal to them for the most part, or just if they make a mistake, they're dead to you.
I actually, when you told me this was going to be a topic and I was making my list, I said if I did a top 10 least favorite, Al Harris would probably be number one.
I always thought Al Harris was pretty good in Green Bay, but okay, I guess not. Number 10 on my list is Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson, probably maybe better known with the Raiders. He had kind of jumped around for his career a little bit and finished with the Raiders, started with the Raiders, finished with the Raiders. But in between, he was with the Packers and even helped them win the Super Bowl and was the defensive player of the year. So he'd be probably pretty high on a lot of people's lists. I still kind of always think of him more as a Raider. I think just a couple days ago was the 20-year anniversary of the Tuck Rule game, which is crazy to think that it's been that long. But I think it was Woodson that tackled Brady when it looked like a fumble, but they obviously made a Tuck Rule. That's why it's called the Tuck Rule game. They called it as a Tuck, and then Adam Vinatieri hit the field goal in the snow, and the rest is history. The Raiders haven't been good since, and the Patriots obviously have. So I'd put him there. And who's your number 10? We'll just do it that way.
Okay, real quick before we get into the list, Jake Sorensen on the text line. Big Sky's favorite 2 NFL quarterbacks are both sad, pathetic backups, Jordan Love and Sam Ehlinger. As the Packers fan he is, he deserves to see bad long-term quarterbacks. Listen, when you have everything, you like to give back to the poor folk, okay?
That's right.
All right, I want to bring up these two young men with the Packers organization, all right?
Do you have a Sam Ehlinger jersey?
I do, yeah. It's a Colts jersey.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not a Texas jersey. I would never
Yeah.
get a Texas jersey.
You didn't like, but you liked him at Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very weird because I would always, I'm actually with you on the Sam Ehlinger fan club. I was like hoping somebody would, draft him and give him a shot. Did he get a start game this year, I think?
I don't know if he got to start a game, but he got
He
to see a little action. In the preseason, he was horrible, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
he might be.
He was on the active roster, so
He's very weird because like I would describe him as a gamer, right? Like a winner. But he never won. He always lost at Texas, but he would lose like 48-45 and make like incredible throws to keep him alive in the game, but they'd end up losing.
Yeah, absolutely no help. My number 10 on the all-time Packers list. I'm kind of doing all-time Packers and all-time favorite Packers. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm doing favorite, by the way. This isn't how good
because like some of my guys I never watched play, so I can't really say they're my favorite, but they need the recognition. But number 10 on my list is gonna be Jordy Nelson.
Oh, Jordy Nelson, yes. We won't spend too much time if we have each other's different guys on the list. I'll just bring it up later. He's definitely on my list, especially from his time at Kansas State, which was kind of cool, battling him in the Big 12. But yeah, I mean, I should say this too. There's always this complaint that Aaron Rodgers never has enough help, but he's always got like all pro wide receivers.
He's always got like one.
That's pretty good.
never more than one. And
It's
usually
always like Donald Driver. I mean, they've always had somebody there.
usually it's like his number 1 wide receiver, and then like a couple of guys who would maybe make a practice squad elsewhere.
Yeah, Randall Cobb for some reason disappears outside of Green Bay, but he's pretty good there.
He's injured right now.
Right.
He might be back next week.
But he's like 45. He's played like whenever he tries
he's
to
like
leave.
33, 34. Calm down, Bach.
I'm just saying when he goes outside of Green Bay, he's nothing special. There,
He was good in his first year with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I guess he was pretty solid there.
But reason why I put Jordy Nelson on there, obviously he was the best wide receiver when I was in like middle school. Also love that his offseason workout was working on his family farm.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Number 9 on my list is Kabir Baja-Biamila. Was he before your time?
Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
Oh man, he was this awesome rush end. I think let's see, he played for how long did he play for the Packers? I think he played. It was like he's a Pro Bowler in 2003, so it is going back a little bit. I think he played up until like 2008 or something. Anyway, he was a force. He was kind of fun on mid 2000s defense, and obviously just because people didn't know how to say his name, they just call him KGB. And KGB would get plenty of sacks, so it was pretty cool. Who's number 9 on your list?
Number 9 on my list is Clay Matthews, the franchise all-time leader in sacks.
Oh, nice. I have Clay Matthews too, so we won't have to spend too much time. Hey, we got a visitor from Rico who's probably got his favorite Packers, right?
Kabir Baja-Biamila.
Yep.
Freaking love that guy.
Oh, see? Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's one of the announcers for American Ninja Warrior now.
Is he now?
I believe so.
Does Christine Leahy still do American Ninja Warrior?
I don't know.
I miss her on the Herd. She was good.
Oh, yeah. The Herd and the Herd's got Joy Taylor now.
Yeah,
and
she's good too.
She's gonna take her own. She's got her own show too, so they're coming up. But I'm glad to hear there's another KGB fan in the office because he was awesome. Yeah, he had like 4 consecutive years here. Now I'm looking it up with double-digit sacks from 2001 to 2004, and he was just an absolute monster. So look him up as a Packers fan. You gotta know KGB. My number 8 was Jordy Nelson, who we did bring up. And go ahead with your number 8.
My number 8 is Ray Nitschke.
Ray Nitschke, you're going back.
I told you that I put some guys on the list just to honor them because they deserve to be on a top 10 Packers list, not necessarily because I know why they deserve to be on the list. Ray Nitschke was a great linebacker for the very early like 60s Packers, I believe. So yeah, that's why I put him on.
I looked at it. Wasn't he?
That's paying respect to my grandfather by putting him on my list.
Yeah, that's good to do. Didn't he also punt?
Oh gosh,
I think maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. A lot of those guys back in the day also just punted. They didn't have specialists.
Fun fact: Tom
Banderas,
a tight end for Nebraska. If you were listening to Riffin' with Raph, was an all-state kicker in Missouri before he came to Nebraska and played tight end.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they
Fun
could have
fact.
used him there. Back in the day, they were pretty good at kicking, so they probably didn't need his help. What are we at, number 7?
Yep.
I have Clay Matthews, who we've kind of talked about. I just love his hair, and obviously is he with the Rams now?
Yeah, he's retired.
Oh, he's retired.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking with the Rams now? They just grabbed somebody.
He was on the Rams for
maybe that's what
a
it was.
season.
Yeah.
But I at number 7 have Charles Woodson, but on Clay Matthews, also great fathead commercials.
That's right. That he did have those pretty good ones.
But yeah, as you said, Charles Woodson probably more well known for his time with the Raiders because of the tuck rule, but he was a great player for the Packers. The move from cornerback to safety really elongated his career and made him a dominant player again. So I thought that he probably had his best years in Green Bay.
Yeah, I think he did too. I mean, he's the defensive player of the year there. Number 6 on my list is one that we all know, Brett Favre. Just so much fun to watch. He probably deserves to be higher on this list, but I have a few Huskers up there. And Brett Favre was just
if Brandon Jacobson is higher than Brett Favre, we're gonna have issues.
Brandon Jackson is definitely higher than Brett Favre.
Oh my gosh,
he helped win a Super Bowl.
He was like the 3rd down running back for the Packers.
Hey.
All right, my number 6 is Donald Driver, Dancing with the Stars champion.
Did he win it?
Yes, he did. First year after he retired, but probably when I started paying attention, he was the guy. So got to put Donald Driver on there.
Yeah, and he went up to the Vikings eventually too, I believe.
No, that was Jennings.
Oh, Jennings. Where did Driver go? Did he have any?
Driver retired as a Packer.
Oh, he did.
If memory serves me correctly, Jennings is a snake and has only talked ill of the Packers since he left, and we don't talk about him. GJ just spends all of his time talking about how Aaron Rodgers is an evil man.
Yeah, I do remember that. But he does go into that category of Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any special. Greg Jennings was pretty good when he was there too. Number 5 on my list, Tyrone Williams, who was a cornerback for Nebraska back in the day. The reason I have a lot of these guys from that era, like the late 90s, is because I got Madden 2000. That was my first video game, and I played with the Packers all the time, and he was awesome. And anybody that would I used to do the thing where I'd get all the Nebraska guys on the same team, right? But Tyrone Williams, I never had to switch. He was okay. I think he started there for several years.
Are all of the rest of the ones on your list Huskers?
No.
Okay,
just
good.
3 out of the top 5.
I was gonna say because if you only have Huskers left, you have a huge whiff on your list. But
these are favorites. You can't miss on your favorites.
Okay, all right. Number 5. Brett Favre for me.
Yeah, Brett Favre, absolute stud. And with the passing of John Madden, just kind of remember the love connection there, where Madden would just love calling Brett Favre games. It was such a.
Have you seen the Caliendo where he makes fun of?
Oh yeah,
that's what it get. And then 3-time, 3-peat MVP.
Yeah,
Brett Favre, and then also got to remember for the game that he played against the Raiders after losing his father, just an insane stat line, just played out of his mind. Brett Favre. One of the probably greatest arm talents we've ever seen in the NFL. Just could not help but throw 2 interceptions a game, it seemed.
Yeah. Oh, Mud Dog off the text line says Bubba Franks. That's a good throwback too. Bubba Franks was sweet, especially in Miami. He almost made my list. He probably should have made my others receiving votes. Number 4 on my list is Brandon Jackson. Like you said, maybe not the best running back. And if you're more of a Green Bay guy, he was just kind of a 2nd-round draft pick that just stuck around for a while. But for us Husker fans, there haven't been, that was kind of the era right before Roy Halu and Rex Burkhead. There was a gap between Amon Green and NFL running backs, and Brandon Jackson was the next one. He left after his junior year. Would have loved to see him at Nebraska one more year. But
the only reason I knew that he was a Nebraska running back at first was because I got a deck that had the entire offense, a trading card deck, when I went to my first Packer game ever, and I was going through it, and it said Nebraska for him. And then later I looked it up, and he was actually a stud at Nebraska, so I thought he was going to be good. I'd try and use him on Madden. He was slow as molasses. Could not use him.
Well, yeah, he
couldn't beat out Ryan Grant, and Ryan Grant was not good.
Hey, Ryan Grant was solid there for a second. It took him a while to get another running back. And what you were waiting for Eddie Lacy era to come along?
Hey, don't disrespect James Starks. James Starks. He was a key piece of the 2010 Super Bowl.
But yeah, as far as weapons that Aaron Rodgers hasn't had, running back might be something that you could argue.
We're running out of time for this segment, Buck. Do you want to do our top 4 for the next segment?
Yeah, we'll do the top 4 Packers. We're just having fun. It's obviously the playoffs are this weekend. Big Sky's favorite team is the Packers, and we're going down memory lane. A couple other ones that we didn't put on our list off the text line. Thomas says, let us not forget Mark Chmura and his hot tub. Yes, Mark Chmura was predated Bubba Franks. That's why Bubba Franks got drafted. Is Mark Chmura kind of got in some trouble, so he had to leave town. But that was always fun. Yeah, when we come back, we'll finish this out. Our top 4. I'm on top 3. You still got 4 left?
I haven't done my number 4 yet.
Okay, our favorite Packers of all time. That'll be coming up next here on the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Culligan Water on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
Hey, sports fans, Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts. More celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from Certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Old School with DP and J.
I always try to tell athletes, be where your cleats are, be in the moment, play by play, possession by possession. That's what Nebraska's women's team does so well. That's why nothing changes. It doesn't matter who's in the game. With the men, that's if they took a little bit of more of that mentality, you would see it. And they've shown games that they've done it. I've seen you do it against, other teams and kind of give the game away. You've seen it on the NC State, play in the moment, continue to play, but then you see the complete opposite.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
Opioid pain medication took everything that I had. Nothing mattered more than getting my fix. Knowing that it could have been prevented makes it worse. It just takes one.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Developed by CDC.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
So we will get back to our Packers talk, our favorite Packers of all time, in honor of Big Sky, a big Packers fan. And, of course, the Packers playing in the playoffs this weekend. But I did want to bring this news up because it's pretty serious coming out over the last 15 minutes or so. The NSAA has just ruled Gretna will have to vacate its 2021 Class Football Championship for using an ineligible player. So there will be no champion listed for 2021, and Gretna will have to return the trophy. Even worse, they have to return the trophy. Maybe they can make their own trophy and still claim it. It's like an asterisk. It's an asterisk championship.
Yeah, it's like Michigan claiming 98.
97, yeah, they won in 98.
Wasn't it 98 because they played?
Well, it's called the 97 championship, but they did play in 98, the Rose Bowl, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's okay. That makes a lot more sense because I never figured out why Michigan would always talk about the 98 Rose Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And then say that they won the championship. And I was like, well, Nebraska doesn't claim one in 98. Thank you for explaining that to me. Bob.
Yeah, that little January crossover playing the bowl game always kind of throws people off. So that's interesting. Maybe we'll get more into it. Like I said, it's for an ineligible player, so maybe more will come out. I'm not exactly sure what all that is about, but certainly a major ruling, and we'll kind of see what goes from there. It was huge for Gretna to be able to get one of those. So, yeah, big news. Let's go back to our top favorite Huskers, or Packers, I should say. I'm saying Huskers because a lot of them are Huskers for me. Our top Packers of all time. You're at number 4. I already gave my number 4, Brandon Jackson. Who's your 4th favorite Packer of all time?
The Minister of Defense, Reggie White.
Oh, Reggie White, yes.
I had a little statue of Reggie White watch me brush every morning as a child. Lunging.
You still have it?
We probably do in a box,
yeah,
but it is no longer the bathroom decor in our basement.
That's too bad. Reggie White was awesome, just a complete menace during his time, even with the Eagles, and then over later in his career at the Packers. I do remember the latter half of his career.
He did enough to be a top 10 Husker, top 10 Packer all time, and a top 10 Eagle all time. He's an all time great Philadelphia athlete. He's an all time great Wisconsin athlete. So
yeah, and I wonder if he'd definitely be a top. You try to think of it like top 50 football player of all time. I don't know how high he'd go on the list, maybe top 30, top 25 type of thing. I mean, he was great. And that's an oversight on my part. I didn't include him on my list. Number 3 on my list is A.J. Hawk. I really like A.J. Hawk more because of his college days when he was with Ohio State. I'll always remember he dated Brady Quinn's sister, ended up marrying her. So I think it was the Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State was playing Notre Dame, and she was having to choose between cheering for her brother or boyfriend, who ended up being her husband, and they had children. I mean, this is a happy family to this day. And she did the split jersey thing. She had the half Ohio State, half Notre Dame jersey. So I always remember that. But then A.J. Hawk's just an awesome linebacker name. He kind of had the long hair at times too. So he was kind of cool. And he paired himself with Clay Matthews for many of those years.
Yeah, never made a Pro Bowl actually, A.J. Hawk, but it was my second Packer jersey all time, first one that I bought, and it wasn't handed down from cousins.
Who was your first one?
Well, we'll get there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Next up on my list, number 3, Curly Lambeau, coach / player / the stadium.
Big Curly Lambeau fan.
I mean, again, just like Ray Nitschke, this is a guy you got to put on the list out of respect.
Yeah.
So, Curly Lambeau.
Corey in Lincoln, by the way, says he hopes to hear a little love for Don the Magic Man Majowski, who was often overlooked as a predecessor to Favre. Yeah, he wasn't bad. I think he led the league in passing in 1989. Kind of really jumped up for that year, and then eventually, got hurt and Favre took his job, ended up with the win in that game, and never got Majewski never got the spot back. So that's a good one. I'll leave my number 2 because I know my number 2 is your number 1.
All right.
So we'll go with your number 2.
My number 2 is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, you forgave him.
Surprise. Well, he would have been on the top 10 list all time either way, no matter what happened this offseason, even after what happened this offseason. But certainly having another MVP caliber season helped him move up a little bit on the list. And I listen, I said get rid of him. And I would stand by that take even after seeing the season. I said that I was wrong, but I got to stand by what I said. I admitted fault. I admitted I was incorrect. The Packers would not be as good without Aaron Rodgers.
Oh no, not even very close. And he was immunized this year, so that's also pretty good for Aaron Rodgers.
Immunized.
My number 1 of all time. I don't even know if you'll know him. Gilbert Brown. Did you ever hear from Gilbert Brown?
No.
Oh, Gilbert Brown was awesome. He's a nose tackle for. I think he did win the Super Bowl with them. But he was sometimes even in and out of the league with the Packers because he was huge. He was up to 400 pounds at times, but he was just awesome. And similar to like I was saying with watching like Madden call the Favre game, if Gilbert Brown was in there, Madden loved Gilbert Brown too, and Gilbert Brown would do this gravedigger celebration whenever he got a sack, which was rare, so it was kind of cool to see it when he did get one. He actually played at Kansas against Nebraska at one time, but he was just awesome and one of my favorite big men of all time.
And then my number 1 on my list, and your number 2, Ahman Green, the former Husker and Green Bay Packer. Started out with the Seahawks. We forgive him for that. Came to the Packers and ended his career with the Houston Texans, actually. But first Husker jersey all time was number 30, Ahman Green jersey for me. First Packer jersey ever, Ahman Green 30 jersey. So I thought when I was going to go to the NFL, I was going to wear number 30 for Ahman Green. Obviously, I did not hold up my end of that bargain, but yes, Ahman Green has always been my favorite player. DP actually gave me a signed Ahman Green jersey earlier or last year. It's probably my number 1 prized possession right now.
Yeah, I bet it would be pretty close to it. And Ahman Green, by the way, was on the captain today. So we're gonna hear VJ's conversation with him. It was really good. So head over to theticketfm.com to check out that podcast. Ahman Green, like you said, number 2 on my list. One of my favorite players growing up as well. And just a lot of incredible moments for him there. I always thought it was disrespectful because he came back really late in his career. And they made him wear number 32 because I think John Kuhn or somebody had number 30. I just thought that was disrespectful. He's the all-time leading rusher for the Packers, and I know he's just a kick returner, but they didn't even give his number back.
Okay, yeah, he was back in 2009. I apologize, Kelsey. I was still a child at the time, but yes, that is disrespectful to not give him his number back. But Kuhn was a fan favorite.
I know, but so should have been Ahman Green.
Well, John Kuhn wasn't on my on my list, but Ahman Green was. We're about to go over the top of the hour and make me really irritated when we podcast this.
Oh yeah, we better last it a little longer so it frustrates you. Or we can get out now. We've got plenty more to talk about. Eric Strickland set to join, of course, on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. And in the next hour, we will also have Greg Hepburn, father of Chucky Hepburn, at 4:25. So stick around. This is On the Block.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way Piedmontese. Just north of 84th and Havelock or at cpmercado.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. B, that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
This is Dan Friedman. In recent years, over 1/3 of all Nebraska traffic crashes have been caused by drivers aged 15 to 19. If you're a teen driver, don't become another statistic. Keep your eyes on the road. And if you're a parent, please remember that safe driving habits start with you. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices. For almost 60 years, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Today on Hey Culligan, why does your team stink? Here's Coach Waters.
Hey, Culligan. Yeah, my team stinks.
Ooh, harsh.
No. I mean, they stink. They won't hit the showers because it makes their skin all dry and itchy.
Coach, it sounds like your guys have been hit hard by hard water.
You kidding me? Hard water?
Yep, so let's call an audible in the form of one Culligan Smart High-Efficiency Water Softener to get the smooth back in their skin and the stink out of your team.
Okay, Culligan, I'm putting you in.
Coach, we're already on the way. Go to CulliganLincoln.com and schedule your free water test today.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Creed stan, Jake Bakoven.
I love that band, Creed.
Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
Hold up.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. It is, of course, a Thursday. Just one more show this week. 2 more shows if you include this one, but we are ready to do it. Eric Strickland on his end down there in Florida. How you doing today, Strick?
Wonderful. Doing wonderful, Bach. I am looking forward to the show tonight. We have great guests coming up with Greg Hepburn, who's will be joining us, who is obviously the father of Chucky Hepburn there at Wisconsin. We'll be having some good discussion with him, plus Evan Bland as well, plus our normal. If you want to shoot out with Stricky, somebody got me last night in the freaking money ball. Right. Broke my winning streak, but that's okay. I'm coming back today. That's
there's There's always another day in basketball. You can't go undefeated. So,
listen, you miss one, Bach. You got to suck it up, take the L, and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, it's a long season. You still have plenty of time to get back to it. It's kind of funny. I was talking with Big Sky. We're going through our favorite Packers of all time. Did you ever have a favorite Packer? Or I guess I don't know, what is your NFL team if you had to choose one?
I'm kind of weird in that I support the teams on the places where I played. I don't necessarily have a team, so to speak. My father was a military. I'm a military brat, so I never really lived in a place where I was consistently an NFL supporter, a little bit in California. I think at the time we probably supported the Raiders when I was in California. Then I had a good friend that played there. Napoleon Kaufman was a running back there, played at Washington. So we played Pee Wee football. So of course I supported them. And then wherever I played, of course, I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys. I support them because I played there. I support the Colts whenever they're playing. I support, the Patriots, even though I didn't like to sometimes. But and then I'm just an underdog supporter. I want to see like the underdogs win. So that's kind of how my support goes.
That's fair enough. It's kind of weird too. I mean, especially in like if you grow up in Lincoln or Omaha, or like you said, you traveled around, but you don't have a natural team. So a lot of people just kind of go to the NFC North or the Chiefs or the Broncos or something like that. So that's usually a nice area that we can talk about. But of course, when it's playoffs, we can talk about any playoff team. So that's also nice about the NFL. There's always interest there.
You spoke about the Packers, though. I mean, if there's one Packer I would support and say that I supported, it'd been Ahman Green. Who was there, and then we had a cornerback also that was there.
Yeah, Tyrone Williams.
Tyrone Williams, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of looked at them. I support them too because I played obviously in Milwaukee. So yeah, that would be the one I would say I supported.
Was there a lot of crossover when you were at Nebraska as far as the athletes, like the football team and the basketball team getting together? I mean, some of that probably depends on just where the teams kind of go to practice or kind of, study together as athletes. Was there a lot of crossover back in your day?
Crossover in what aspect?
Just as far as like, rubbing elbows with the football players and,
and
all the other athletes.
Yeah. In college or in basketball?
Yeah,
in college, yeah. In college, yeah. Okay, of course. Cluster has remained a good friend of mine. Clinton Childs we hung out with. It was a roommate of Jerron Boone's. So we hung out with Clinton some. But mostly it would be just when we were out. It was always love and support. Big D Harris, you know what I mean? Dwayne Harris. We still, catch up sometimes. We play dominoes against each other some. so there was some. It wasn't very much. I mean, we pretty much was like a mini fraternity. We hung out amongst ourselves. Yeah. And then when we saw them, it was love. It wasn't, any animosities or hate or anything like that.
Yeah, well, that could be different on different campuses. I had a buddy that went to college in Kansas and said their Orange Bowl team would bump heads with the basketball team at times. So, it can be kind of different dynamics at different times on different campuses, but it's kind of cool just to kind of hear those stories. I wanted to get to this. Our topic that we had prepared for the day is talking a little bit of Husker football. Of course, the big news before we get to that, I guess the big news of the day is the Husker basketball game against Ohio State was postponed due to COVID. So there will not be a game this weekend. Of course, Nebraska women's basketball, the rifle team also kind of coming down with that. It's spreading. It's back. COVID is back, and now it's impacting Nebraska basketball once again. It's hard to really take too much of a take on it. Obviously Nebraska hasn't been able to win yet in the Big Ten. There's no way this is going to help them, but how much could it hurt them when they haven't won yet? Do you have any initial thoughts on just COVID going through the program and having to miss out on a game?
I mean, as I was looking at I read news all across the world. I don't just stay in a little bubble of what the United States news, or I search news and look at different news all across the world. And some of the things that they're starting to look at in places like Europe is they're starting to look at it from the same standpoint as what we've had consistently with the flu, right? I mean, that is what we're in. COVID is so to speak, a part of what flu is. I mean, it does have some more deadlier aspects, but flu was deadly too, to some people. So, I mean, the numbers of the flu cases that were pretty deadly. So, I think we have to look at it from a standpoint of this may be something that we may have to live with for some time. It's no different than any other things that have been out there. Viruses are something that are around. They don't just get killed off. You can't just destroy them. You can't get rid of them. You know what I mean? You can contain them in some aspects, but you can't get rid of them. So I think if we start to look at it from that standpoint, and this is not to challenge anything or sciences or whatever the case may be, but I think that's something to kind of still consider, to look at it. It's something that's going to be around. It's not something that's going to disappear. And if we just begin to understand that and start to take precautions from those manners, then, it's something that can be dealt with. So hopefully that's it'll start to, wane and wear, but we're in the middle of that type of season, and it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you wonder, like you said, obviously nobody has the answers about how long this is going to last, or how much further it's going to kind of impact sports, I should say. But it's been quite impactful over the last several months, obviously kind of popping back up here in the winter months. And now Nebraska basketball, that game is postponed. If you remember, the Big Ten did do did kind of switch up their idea on whether those games would be seen as forfeits, because it is the Nebraska side, for what it's worth, that's dealing with the COVID issue. And according to last year's rules, they would have given this a forfeit. Now they're kind of a little bit easier on it. It kind of has to do with, getting vaccinated and all that stuff, still being able to get COVID. So there's a lot of that goes into it. But for what it's worth, this will not go down as a loss for Nebraska, because they updated those rules, and they will try to reschedule it. And we'll see if they're able to do that. Of course, we remember last year, Nebraska played so many games in a row because they had to reschedule so many of these. So just hopefully it doesn't come down to that. But Husker basketball is going to have to wait, I think, until the 25th when they play Wisconsin, which so
next Tuesday.
You get a little bit of a break from a top 25 team. Hopefully by then Nebraska will be ready to play, and another top 25 team is there. But such is life for Nebraska basketball in the month of January. It should cool off a little bit once they hit to February, but at the same time, and maybe we'll curb the other discussion a little bit, but it's good to see Nebraska's schedule lighten up once they get back into action. But it does take away from that kind of big victory that would really kind of put momentum in the program, maybe empower the Husker basketball team to have a lot of confidence moving forward. So you can kind of see it either way there, where the schedule lightens up and give them more chances for a win, but they don't have a chance to get that big win as some of those top 25 teams come off the schedule. Would you rather see them, and maybe some of those teams will jump back up in there? I mean, Rutgers has been playing pretty good. I'll have to see if they're on the second, the February schedule. Trying to think back, but, so maybe it'll happen again. But do you have any thoughts about that? Perhaps maybe wanting to play more top 25 teams, and Ohio State will get rescheduled. They'll probably be top 25 when you play them again.
Yeah, it's gonna come back around. I think they'll be scheduled. There's definitely times within the week to be able to kind of look at those opportunities to reschedule that. I think it just allows for Nebraska to get healthy. I think it, allows for Trey to get a little bit more reps and a little bit more conditioning in his lungs, and to give them a little bit more full strength. So I think that could be a valuable thing. But, as a player, you look forward to getting back out there, right? After especially losses. They played pretty well last game, and you kind of want to be able to get back out there and show what you can do. But you get a little bit more time to prepare for Wisconsin, and they're tough. They're in the top 10 now. They're on a nice long win streak. Beat a very good Purdue team at Purdue, which that's not very easy, especially after the way they played against us. So they're not going to be an easy win. It's going to be pretty tough. They do a good job of playing good defense as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they prepare, get over the weekend, maybe get some time off as well to just kind of relax their mind and refocus.
Oh, and it'll be interesting too, because of course, like we said, we do have Greg Hepburn coming up here in just a few minutes. Father, of course, Chucky Hepburn, who was an in-state kid, ended up going to Wisconsin. So we'll talk to him a little bit about that. But that's always an interesting part of the game too, when you get to play your home state, and maybe they didn't give you quite as much love as you wanted. And we'll talk to Greg and see if that was the case. I'm not sure if it was, but he ultimately ended up going to Wisconsin, and he's having success there. I believe he starts. He starts. Averaged 7 points per game, kind of leading them as a point guard, and he plays with Johnny Davis, who is one of the biggest surprises around the nation, one of the nation's leading scorers over there on Wisconsin. So they'll bring a lot to the table when they do play Nebraska, and that'll be a lot of fun for that game, and it would be a big one for Nebraska to win. Like you said, a top 10 victory, maybe they're on the table for Nebraska once they get back from this COVID stuff. So that's what we'll do. We'll take a quick break. We'll have Greg Hepburn join us here around the break and talk a little bit about that game, about Chucky Hepburn, how he's been playing, and just about Omaha in general. A lot of great athletes coming out of there, not always sticking to the Nebraska schools, whether it's Nebraska or Creighton or Omaha or otherwise. So we'll talk about all that coming up next with Greg Hepburn here on the blog.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from Certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
This is Dan Friedman. In recent years, over 1/3 of all Nebraska traffic crashes have been caused by drivers aged 15 to 19. If you're a teen driver, don't become another statistic. Keep your eyes on the road. And if you're a parent, please remember that safe driving habits start with you. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices. For almost 60 years, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Old School with DP and J.
I always try to tell athletes, be where your cleats are. Be in the moment, play by play, possession by possession. That's what Nebraska's women's team does so well. That's why nothing changes. It doesn't matter who's in the game. With the men, that's if they took a little bit of more of that mentality, you would see it. And they've shown games that they've done it. I've seen you do it against, other teams and kind of give the game away. You've seen it on the NC State, play in the moment, continue to play, but then you see the complete opposite.
93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Today on Hey Culligan, why does your team stink? Here's Coach Waters.
Hey, Culligan. Yeah, my team stinks.
Ooh, harsh.
No. I mean, they stink. They won't hit the showers because it makes their skin all dry and itchy.
Coach, it sounds like your guys have been hit hard by hard water.
You kidding me? Hard water?
Yep, so let's call an audible in the form of 1 Culligan Smart High-Efficiency Water Softener to get the smooth back in their skin and the stink out of your team.
Okay, Culligan, I'm putting you in.
Coach, we're already on the way. Go to CulliganLincoln.com and schedule your free water test today. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up simple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up simple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Coppell Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Coppell, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at CoppellCars.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Shout out to Kevin Meyer in Meyer's Cork and Bottle there. He is actually not in studio this week, so we'll not have Thirsty Thursday, but always, as always, head down to Meyer's Cork and Bottle for your alcohol needs. They have a very informative staff that can guide you into what you want there, so no Thirsty Thursday this week. Hopefully we'll get back to it next week, as it always is a little bit of fun. But instead of Thirsty Thursday, we still got something special dialed up for you in the form of Greg Hepburn, who is joining us now on the block. Of course, father of Chucky Hepburn. Greg, how you doing today?
Doing really well, really well. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. It's nice to hear from you. And I'll let Strick jump in and guide this conversation the way that he knows, because I know he's got a better connection with you than I do at this point.
G-Hep, man, it's good to hear from you, man. Obviously, you see what you got on. B. West, T. Bird connection. That's my guy. We played together in high school.
Yes,
G-Hep, a lot of people said that, I was pretty garbage in high school and I was hard to play with. What you think? What's your thought on that, man? You thought I was hard to play with?
Not a bit. I mean, my view was always a little obstructed as I was more watching you than playing with you. But, day-to-day grind and practice, man, made it help, develop my game and make it a lot of what it became as I entered collegiate ranks and played ball and, learned to develop myself. I was a little bit of a late bloomer, and, I didn't start playing until my junior year of high school when I moved here. But, learned a lot and love to compete. I'm a competitor. That's what I do. That's what you see what Chucky does. So that's what it is.
That's absolutely. So when we look at it, man, we've seen a lot of solid talent come and go in different waves. Over the last wave, we've seen as of recent, we've struck gold in Omaha based on what, these young kids that have come through and have come out. We mentioned and we talk about Hunter Salas and we talk about Chucky and we talk about Saint. But,
yes.
Also Latrell Whitesell Jr. is down there doing wonderful things in Riverside and in California. So I think he's at Fulton, right? He's at Cal.
Trelly is at
He's at either Fulton. I know he's in Cali. I can't remember. There's so many. Cal State, Fulton, Cal State, Irvine, Cal State. There's all types of them. But I know he's doing well. He's doing well. And so there's been a lot of talent that has come and go. So as we look at it now, man, this is kind of what the segment is about, man, repping the polls. I saw that post and I thought that was a very good take on it. I mean, right now, Wisconsin is number 8. That's where Chucky's playing. Gonzaga's number 1. Where Hunter's playing, and Loyola Chicago is 22, 24 on some, and as high as 18. So with these players, man, you had a chance to not only look at them, watch them, coach them. What are some of your thoughts, about the talent level in Nebraska, why it's been overlooked, and what is how is it that we're missing this talent and we're losing them consistently, from Nebraska to the likes of obviously Gonzaga, no one really could pass it. Wisconsin definitely is a solid grab. But there'll be questions about, why, Chucky maybe decided not to go. We don't have to ultimately dig into it. I would like to know. But tell me your thoughts about, the talent. And I've watched and observed over the years as they've played and competed nationally against some perennial powers. What is your thoughts about, the youth and these young men and the roles that they're playing at these schools right now?
Absolutely. No, I think you have a couple of different dynamics that are going on here. I think, to one is that a lot of the kids are growing up and they're just seeing so much basketball. They're around so much basketball, and the parents are a little bit more informed. And so there's just a big understanding of what they want. And so kids have goals that they want to accomplish from a young age. And the parents are just putting a lot of effort in to get towards that process. As it relates to, just the kids and what they go through, a lot of those guys, I coach them. You mentioned those guys, but, you have a JJ who is out, Jaden Johnson, who is out at Old Dominion. You have a Max Morrell who is at Stanford. These guys I've watched as they've grown from whether 4th, 5th, 6th grade all the way through, and just really developed. And they just have high standards that they really, really want to be able to achieve. And so it's fun to see that process. And of course, I understand the staying home and, being able to play local and having fans, watch a lot of that homegrown talent as well too. But, I think that there just needs to be a little bit better job of communication, from a young age, and being able to identify who some of these players are, because, once you're waiting till like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, everybody really has access to them at that point. So, getting in early and seeing who some of these are, and also contributing to that development process as well too, I think would help with some of the local institutions.
Awesome. Yeah, St. Thomas out there in Loyola, Chicago right now. He's averaging about 8 minutes a game, scoring about 3 points right now at this point. But he has, in some games, have made some wonderful contributions. He's getting a chance to compete and see, and understand the dynamic changes there. So we expect to see greater things in the future out of him, because he has a unique skill set that, I think would bode well for a good future for him. Chucky in his first year is doing quite well as well. He's starting. I know he has high expectations for himself. I think he's achieved that, averaging about 30 minutes a game. His field goal shooting and stuff, that's just adjustment stuff. That's just the quick and the changing of the speeds and all of those things play into it. But one of the things that he does well that gets him on that court is he defends. He gets after you. He's going to control the tempo, deliver the ball and put it in the hands of those that are supposed to, be doing what they're supposed to do. And I think that's why they like him there. And then you have Hunter Salas in a similar manner, who is out there in Gonzaga. He's not necessarily, also he's getting about 15 minutes a game. They're very good. I think just the size, the physicalities of some of the competition out there. He's averaging about 6 points a game. A few rebounds, his assist numbers and turnovers. I think that's one of the things he has to get a hold on. But other than that, man, they're making contributions to solid programs that are winning. I had to go back, man, and just kind of reference myself just so that I can get an understanding, Hep, as to what these guys are doing. I looked at myself. I averaged about 17 minutes a game, about 8 points. Shot pretty good clips from both 46% and 36% from three.
Right.
And then was the Big 8 freshman of the year. So we're not expecting ultimately those things from those type of players. We're just expecting them to continue to grow and be successful and help to be a contributing part. So what do you think now about those young men and what's next for them and what you expect for them to do in the next levels of their development?
Yeah. Well, one thing for sure is that all three of them work. And that's what, a byproduct of where they're at right now, So I definitely expect them to continue to deliver what they've been giving their team. And make no mistake, despite the differences in minutes played, scoring production or any other type of production, I think that all of them are capable in the same manner, especially with the Saints here, who may only be, playing 8 minutes as opposed to 30 minutes with Chucky. Their situations are different. He came in, there's some guys that were returning there in his situation, and same thing with Hunter as well, too. If a Demetric Trice came back and, was a more developed point guard than what Chucky was coming into it, then there's a possibility that, Chucky's minutes might look the same. So, I mean, you just never know. So the circumstances don't tell what the situation is. So, that I think that's the main thing. But in terms of their development, what they continue to do, I think that their coaches give them good instruction on, what their next level is, what the expectations are. And those guys will just, once the offseason begins, come ready to work. I mean, they all have, hard hats and lunch pails, that type mentality. And it's just fun to watch that developmental process continue to maintain.
Well, of course, being here in Lincoln, a lot of Nebraska fans around are kind of wondering about not being able to recruit those guys, those in-state kids, and wondering how much that matters. Of course, Fred Hoiberg had a really great class overall as far as the class rankings go. Things haven't turned out so well on the court quite yet. But do you think that it does matter to get the in-state kids for Nebraska? Even if you're going outside and getting a top 15 class, would you still rather have a Nebraska kid or two in there from time to time?
I think that you definitely want to have some, homegrown kids. But ultimately, as long as you're competitive and, you're getting the results that the fan base want, then I think that's the biggest thing that matters. But, like I said, you want some homegrown kids in there, especially kids that have, accomplished what that group specifically that you're talking about have accomplished at the point in their high school career. You definitely want to go after those kids, which I feel that they did. I think Saint was a little bit of a later bloomer than Chucky and Hunter in terms of, his stature in the ranking system. But I think Creighton, I think that Nebraska, I think that UNO, I think all did a good job of recruiting them. But ultimately, they felt as though their opportunities lie elsewhere. And, sometimes that's just going to happen. I mean, Chucky himself, I mean, I'm not from the area. I've been here 30 plus years, but we have family elsewhere. So he's not necessarily as tied, to the soil as what, Hunter, who is from here, Saint, who is from here, and their families are from here as well, too. But ultimately, I think they were recruited well. And, just people have decisions to make that are, for the betterment of themselves and what they want to do to accomplish their goals.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to ask this question. We haven't had as much success. I mean, Creighton has had tremendous success over the past 10 years as of late, and Nebraska's kind of been topsy-turvy. Not as much success as since I think probably since Tehran left. I would say. Not even myself, probably just after Tehran and Vincent and that crew left. They had that 1 year, that good run with, with Coach Miles. Had a pretty solid team. But when I look at it, I got to be honest with you. Had Nebraska not had the success that they had with Rich King and that crew, being in the top 10, it could have been a different decision for me down the road. I mean, if I'm looking at over the years of growing up, we got to see pretty much success at the University of Nebraska, whereas these kids didn't get to say that. Do you think that also plays? What would you think could begin to change the ire? Because even for me, the ire was not necessarily just only the success, but also the potential of being able to emerge that to the next level. So you could see that it was heading in a direction where we come with who we came with, me, Badge, Jerron, Andy, and we said, yo, let's go down here and make it do what it do. That's a little different scope than what they've seen in the past. Do you think that plays a part in probably kind of why it hasn't been able to transcend and get some of the talent that we've normally seen coming out of Nebraska?
Yep. No, I think that's I think it's a significant piece of it. And to add on to that, I think one thing that probably didn't occur, and even though they did a really good job of recruiting, I think that they did not recruit all of who they wanted together and bring us in together. And I think that maybe if that was a component of it, I think that, families talking, players talking, what you said, you got with Andy, you got with, Badge, and, you guys made a decision to go down there and do the thing yourselves. And so that, even though these kids have those conversations, it wasn't recruited as that, and I think that may have been, a missed opportunity.
And it's kind of interesting too. We can talk about these guys as they relate to Nebraska because we like to see their success and we'll pull for them either way. But it's going to be exciting because Chucky is going to get a chance to play Nebraska. Hopefully, Nebraska's kind of got some COVID issues, but we'll see.
I just heard that.
Yeah, set to be on Tuesday. How excited do you think he is at least to kind of play the home state, at least where he grew up and played his high school basketball? That's always got to be fun.
He's been waiting for a couple of years. Chucky is a competitor. He loves to compete, and this is something that he's looked forward to, and not from a vitriolic type of standpoint. He really wants to go rub it into those guys, but he understands the moment. He understands what that means. And he understands what his legacy, high school wise, here in the state, has had on kids and on fans, and he's looking forward to coming in and just really putting on a show.
Last question, G-Hap. Yeah. What would you like to see from Chucky? Let's just speak strictly about Chucky. What would you like to see from Chucky that in his progression that would make you guys to have a real good discussion and sit down about if he leaves his junior year or if he stays for a senior year? What would kind of put you in that mode of having that discussion, of having him to bounce out early as opposed to staying for the full term?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing would be what his opportunities are. What some of the projections are on the draft boards would be a huge indicator. But in terms of his game, the biggest thing that I would like to see is him continue to the development of his jump shot. Shoot it at a little bit of a higher clip than what he is. And again, it's early on, it's adjustment. Some of the stuff is shot selection, some of the stuff is, just being acclimated to the game. And so some of that stuff is going to come. I think that would be one of the biggest components, because a lot of the things in terms of the decision-making, in terms of, defense, as you mentioned, a lot of those things need to continue to grow in terms of expectation, what the coaching staff has. But I like where a lot of his game is right now. I think the biggest thing is just, continuing to work on his jump shot and, show offensive efficiency. I think that he's starting to become a little bit more aggressive. You see that look, in his eyes, something I've seen in him for a while. And once I see that look in his eye, he's going to start attacking. Then I know that he's starting to acclimate to the game and start to feel a little bit more comfortable. And, creating plays for himself, creating plays for his teammates by his aggression, I think is one of the biggest things that he has. And once he gets comfortable, I think we'll see a little bit more of that.
He's G-Hep. G-Hep is a coach there at B West, my alma mater high school, the Thunderbirds. G-Hep, keep teaching these young men. Keep raising them up. I know you also touch the women as well.
Absolutely.
Keep doing a wonderful job, man, in helping the group to thrive for excellence. We appreciate your service. Thanks for joining us on the block. That's Greg Hertburn. We'll be back right after this on the block with Strick and Bach.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In basketball over the weekend, it was a dramatic week for city schools. Lincoln North Star lost this weekend, Elkhorn South 64-61 in overtime. Lincoln Southwest would also lose in overtime to Gretna 59-54. Lincoln Pius X rolled past Omaha Bryan 74-38. Sam Hastrader led all scorers with 22. Lincoln Southeast won over Omaha Benson 75-65. Lincoln Northeast lost to Miller North 71-55. They could not slow down Green for Miller North, who would end the night with 28 points, leading all scorers. Lincoln High lost to Millard South 63-53. Norris would fall just short against Crete, losing 57-52 in overtime. In basketball on Monday, Waverly fell to Bennington 66-59. The girls would also lose to Bennington 49-37. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Herrick Services in Lincoln reminds us this winter to drive safe. Snow and black ice can pull your feet out from under you and put your car in a tailspin. In 2022, watch your speed, watch your step, and save those text messages for when it's not going to cause an accident. This safety message from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending and snow removal specialists here in Lincoln. Visit them on the web at herrickservices.net. Herrick Services, wishing all a safe and healthy winter season.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Old School with DP and J.
I always try to tell athletes, be where your cleats are, be in the moment, play by play, possession by possession. That's what Nebraska's women's team does so well. That's why nothing changes. It doesn't matter who's in the game. With the men, that's if they took a little bit more of that mentality, you would see it. And they've shown games that they've done it. I've seen you do it against, other teams and kind of give the game away. You've seen it on NC State, play in the moment, continue to play, but then you see the complete opposite.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. For sure.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Koppel Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Koppel, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at koppelcars.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com. It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It is time for a Shootout with Strick. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All you have to do is beat Strick in the shootout. Give us a call, 402-464-5685, for your chance to beat a former NBA player in a shootout. It can be done. We saw yesterday on the Moneyball. The opponent took away the victory. So Strick, he was on a little bit of a 3-4 game winning streak, something like that. He got all his questions right, I think, on Tuesday. But today's topic is Big Ten leaders. So we'll kind of go through some of the different categories.
Wait. Basketball or football?
Basketball. So gotta think for a second there. We have Drew on the Hound of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Drew, have you been paying attention to some Big Ten basketball this year?
Mainly just the Huskers, but they've played a few Big Ten teams. Hopefully they'll hang in there a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of know some of these names. And
no, he don't know. Just okay. Just take this L and let's go call back and be number 3.
Yeah, Strick's already talking trash, but Drew, don't let him talk down to you. We'll see if you can get the win. Strick, let's start with you. Are you ready?
Ready. Let's get it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Big Ten leader in points per game, Johnny Davis or Keegan Murray?
Johnny Davis.
It's actually Murray. Big Ten leader in 3-point field goals, Alfonso Plummer or Sasha Stefanovic?
Stefanovic.
It's actually Plummer. Big Ten leader in blocks, Trace Jackson Davis or EJ Liddell?
Liddell.
It's actually Davis. True, false? Bryce McGowan is the top 10 scorer in the Big Ten.
True.
False. How many Big Ten teams shoot less than 30% from beyond the arc? How many?
2.
Just 1. Strick. You don't score a point. You missed them all.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, everybody has their days, but we'll see. Maybe it could go to a tie.
Hey, listen, Reggie Miller sometimes go 3 for 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just got to keep shooting. You'll keep shooting. She keeps shooting tomorrow. But Drew,
I'm generous today, man. You know, it's Thursday giveaway. That's why I'm generous today. I'm gonna be nice. That's right.
Drew, are you ready? You still have to get one correct.
All right, I'll give her a shot here.
All right, we'll go. And 3, 2, 1. The Big Ten leader in rebounds. Is it Trace Jackson Davis or Kofi Coburn?
Coburn.
That's correct. Big Ten leader in assists. Boo Buie or Alonzo Verge Jr.?
Buie.
That's correct. Big Ten leader in free throw percentage. Alfonso Plummer or Brad Davidson?
Plummer.
That's correct. True or false? Purdue's Zach Edey shoots over 70% from the field.
False.
That's actually true. How many Big Ten teams allow more than 75 points per game?
4.
It's actually just 1. It's only Nebraska, but it doesn't matter because you got the win, and you go home with Buffalo Wings and Rings. You've earned a boom shakalaka, maybe 2,
Boom shakalaka.
and a shout out from Stone Cold as well.
Sounds good. Hey, I do.
Hold on.
When I grew up watching you play, and those are some of the best memories I have going to basketball games with my dad. The knowledge that you have of the game is very valuable to our community. I hope a lot of people tune in and listen to this show. It's been great. So thanks for doing it.
Man, thank you. And it's been a pleasure losing to you today since you said those wonderful, kind words.
It's always fun to win. But.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Drew is the winner and obviously a very good listener. As he had a pretty good score there, and he walks away with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings for his try. Strick, you got to score a point at least. Maybe I'll set it up for at least get one tomorrow.
No, you gave him all the easy questions.
Oh yeah, maybe that's probably what happened there. I was kind of picking on Nebraska too, going throughout that, because both my Moneyball questions were how many Big Ten teams do this or that, and it was only Nebraska.
Yeah, only Nebraska. That was good actually.
Yeah.
People wouldn't have thought that. That was
yeah.
Good.
Nebraska, the only team to shoot less than 30% from beyond the arc. We know that's been a problem all year long. It's seemingly getting a little bit better. They're inching closer to that. Also, the only team to allow more than 75 points per game. I got to grab the tiebreaker here. Purdue leads the league in scoring. How much do you think Purdue averages?
In scoring?
Yeah, per game.
82.
86.2.
I knew it
That's a
was an 80.
lot of
That's a
points
lot.
for.
That's getting it
for Cole.
done, bro. Especially even not only is it a tremendous number in college, but it's with big men.
Yeah.
Where they play a big man's game. Usually that game is a little bit slower because the big man, takes some time. You got to run a little more clock, so your possessions maybe come down a little bit. So you don't expect a team with an inside presence the way that they have to be scoring in those higher clips. But their percentages are good, so that helps when you shoot it good.
And speaking of big men, we'll get a bit of a preview to hitting the hardwood. We got a different NBA question down the line, but last night, probably the two best big men in the league really showed out. So it kind of leads you to which one would you rather have? Jokic over there in Denver had a 49, 14, and 10 triple-double, obviously reigning MVP. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid, it took 27 minutes for him, 27 minutes and 3 seconds to get a 50-point game. That's the second lowest amount of minutes played in the shot clock era. Only Klay Thompson bettered that with 26 and a half minutes himself. Kendrick Perkins today said, the obvious question for everybody going around is which guy would you take and build your franchise around? I know Kendrick Perkins ended up going with Embiid. Do you have a way in which you would lean between Jokic and Embiid there?
I like Embiid. I think he's a phenomenal historic style of big man with increased range. I love Jokic probably for his diversity of game. That's probably where I like him more because he has a great trick bag around the basket. He's a great passer. He can stretch you. He's got that great slow man's game that you think you can just handle and cover. And so there's a little more physicality coming from Embiid from his standpoint, both hands, great touch, great footwork. But I think I like Jokic, man. I really do. Yeah. I just like his diversity of skill sets that bodes well for a style of, especially the style of basketball of today.
Yeah, if you could draw up a center, he's about as close as you get for the modern age. It's just interesting. Both of them, not necessarily being hurt by their teammates around them. Both of them are pretty good franchises, have been surrounded by good players. Obviously, the Embiid-Simmons marriage didn't necessarily work out as they're still shopping Simmons around. You kind of wonder if any pairing with Simmons is going to work out. That's the question around the league, and that's why there haven't been any suitors to the big bag that the 76ers want in return for him. But I'm very interested in, obviously, moving forward. I think Jokic, I think I dragged him down a little bit last year by saying he was kind of the most most valuable player because he was there more than anything. Embiid got hurt. All the guys that kind of competed for it kind of got hurt. So he was just kind of, they always talk about your best ability is availability. And Jokic won that last year, but he also improved on a bunch of his numbers. So it's not to take away from him. And then by the time the playoffs roll around, he was without his number 2 star. So that was very disappointing. And so I'm glad to see Denver kind of get back into it there. And I'd agree with you. I'd probably end up going with Jokic, but you really can't lose. Those are the best centers in the game. And I think they're going to be that way for quite some time to come. Both of them around 26. I think Embiid, one of them's 27, one of them's 26, but they're right around the same age. And they're certainly building blocks. But the other part of it is, today's modern game, would you build your team around a center to begin with? There hasn't been too many centers or big men leading their team to titles, maybe other than Anthony Davis kind of led that one in the bubble, but he had the help of an all-time great LeBron James.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think I'd lose my mind if like Memphis had like an Embiid, like if Ja Morant had someone like Embiid or Jokic, I that would be like crazy. I think even someone like Kevin Love, a younger Kevin Love with that type of team, oh my gosh, that would be scary dangerous. But with so many injuries still right now in the West, I think once they get full strength there in Denver, I think they're going to be phenomenal. But I you're right. It's been very guard heavy. It's been very forward guard heavy, even more so, threes, have been the more dominant guys when you look at your LeBrons and your Durants and your Hardens, even though Harden is kind of an anomaly in that, but he's really a 3, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's he's really a 2-3. So, those type of guys have just really dominated the league as of such. It seems like it's getting a little bit more physical. They're allowing a little bit more physical play to resume. Hopefully that'll begin to make things a little bit more difficult. I couldn't even imagine the way that they're scoring these days. That just didn't happen in our time. If somebody scored 120, they just went nuts that night. It just was one of those games. It was going to be 90, 95 to 92. It was going to be maybe 100, 101 to 98 or 95. I mean, that was how it was. And sometimes it would be in the upper 70s because it was just scrappy, So
I remember those Spurs Pistons finals where it was like 71 to 60 every game.
Yeah, man, it was just scrappy. So it's amazing when I'm seeing these games 135 to 100. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's just changed the dynamic, but that's the way of the game these days. So you got to play by the rules of the day.
Yeah, there's like several teams averaging like 114 now, which is just insane. But it is the way, the modern age of shooting the three, of course, and the spacing and all that. But we will take a quick break. When we come back around the corner, we will talk a little bit about the playoffs, of course, around the corner on Saturday. And there's a big question there for me, at least. We always kind of ask about the legacy of the quarterbacks. Well, let's do it a little bit with the coaches, mainly Belichick. I know he's out, but if Brady wins another Super Bowl, how much does that hurt Belichick's legacy? I think it might a little bit. Can Andy Reid make his way into the GOAT conversation as far as a coach if he wins a few more Super Bowls with the Chiefs? We'll talk about that stuff. Also, Evan Bland will join us at 5:25 of the Omaha World Herald. And hitting the hardwood, we'll talk some more NBA with Strick. That's all coming up in the next hour here on the blog.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
This is Dan Friedman. In recent years, over 1/3 of all Nebraska traffic crashes have been caused by drivers aged 15 to 19. If you're a teen driver, don't become another statistic. Keep your eyes on the road. And if you're a parent, please remember that safe driving habits start with you. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices. For almost 60 years, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Another bitterly cold day on the way. After starting off near 0, we only climbed to around 17 this afternoon. Despite plenty of sunshine, a light south wind at around 10. Overnight, partly cloudy with a low down to around 4. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, but warmer. We'll see an afternoon high of around 31. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Herrick Services in Lincoln reminds us this winter to drive safe. Snow and black ice can pull your feet out from under you and put your car in a tailspin. In 2022, watch your speed, watch your step, and save those text messages for when it's not going to cause an accident. This safety message from Bart, Mike, and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending and snow removal specialists here in Lincoln. Visit them on the web at herrickservices.net. Herrick Services, wishing all a safe and healthy winter season.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Sutter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. For sure.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com.
This is your high school minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In basketball over the weekend, it was a dramatic week for city schools. Lincoln North Star lost this weekend, Elkhorn South 64-61 in overtime. Lincoln Southwest would also lose in overtime to Gretna 59-54. Lincoln Pius X rolled past Omaha Bryan 74-38. Sam Hastrader led all scorers with 22. Lincoln Southeast won over Omaha Benson 75-65. Lincoln Northeast lost to Miller North 71-55. They could not slow down Green for Miller North, who would end the night with 28 points, leading all scorers. Lincoln High lost to Millard South 63-53. Norris would fall just short against Creek, losing 57-52 in overtime. In basketball on Monday, Waverly fell to Bennington 66-59. The girls would also lose to Bennington 49-37. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
I'm Jenny Benson. I taught for 32 years. Educators are used to the challenges of a typical school year, but the last year plus was far from typical. Yet everyone leaned in and found creative ways to adapt, innovate, and persevere. Behind each student were resourceful families and dedicated educators who reached out with open arms of support. Because of all the ways we work together, our students continued to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska's never been really good, but they've never been this bad.
That is very telling about how bad it is right now.
Exactly. And it's not, Nebraska, it's always had a little bit of an identity where it was a team that would scrap with you.
Sure.
This isn't really a scrappy team.
I mean, the Doc Sadler, Sadler, they were never very talented, but my gosh, they scrapped. They played defense.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Bill Callahan Fan Club president, Jake Bakoven.
I love Billy.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
Welcome back to On the Block with Strick and Bach. With Strick and Bach. Strick and Bach. Listen, we're in the second hour of On the Block right now. A lot of people really don't understand. They listen to me right now. They listen to me, Bach, talk about football and other sports. Some people may not know, listeners may not know that, I played all of these sports. I may not have played it in the NFL and I may not have played it, but I've played baseball and I've played football. So, they're going to look at me like, how in the heck are you going to have a legacy discussion, Eric, about who's who and who's that and whatnot and all of that? Well, I mean, I happen to have a great affinity for football. And so we're going to get into it in this 5 o'clock hour about football legacies in the coaching. We always, as you said, we always talk about the quarterbacks and the impact players and the Hall of Famers and who did what and how many rings did they bring up or put up. And that's going to be part of the discussion right now. We look at it at the coaching standpoint. I mean, a lot of people are starting to question. Colin Cowherd has thrown the gauntlet out there and said, hey, let's take a look at this Andy Reid thing. Is Andy Reid, can he be thrown into the GOAT discussion and into that conversation? So, I have my thoughts, and some of my thoughts. I am not going to lead this discussion. I'm going to allow the great Boxster to step in and talk about what his thoughts are about the potential legacies of these two wonderful coaches, great coaches, by the way, had long tenures, have been in the game a long time. And they also have great pedigree. They have put together a treasure trove of coaching pedigree that is under their helms that have come through and now moved on to be head coaches of their own. I think that's something that you might want to throw into that discussion. I think a legacy is not necessarily about how many, with the coaches, not necessarily about how many rings that you win particularly. There's some things to also, I think, throw in that mix when you think about being a great head coach and a legacy style head coach. So what is your thoughts about it in this particular discussion that we're bringing up right now about the GOATs of coaching in the NFL?
Well, first of all, I respond to your first thing is hopefully they don't question you were drafted as a baseball player. You tried out for a national championship type football team. So, I mean, you definitely had the skill set to do those sorts of things. And you had a lot of experience doing those things. Just maybe not at the highest level like you get to the NBA. So no questioning you. Myself, on the other hand, I couldn't play in high school. I didn't have any. I'm just not very athletic. I can kind of shoot a three, but not at that level. But that's about all I can offer athletically. So I just sit back and make my opinions known anyway. But as far as, the coaching legacy, kind of stuff on the line this weekend. And you're right, Colin Cowherd kind of is leading the Andy Reid discussion and trying to gear toward maybe if he puts together a couple championships, could he be an all-time great, maybe the greatest of all time? And that would probably be taking it away from Bill Belichick. I mean, Bill Belichick has won the most Super Bowls. You could look back at like a Mike Knoll or some of the old school guys that have those rings. As Chuck Noll, excuse me, have those rings. He had 4 with Pittsburgh, so that's that it's not Belichick's got 6, I believe. So it's a lot, and sometimes you just do that ring discussion. I just think if Brady can win one, as old as he is, in Tampa, I mean, you're not propelling Bruce Arians into that discussion, right? Although he is a great head coach and himself got into the game a little bit late as far as his age. So, maybe if he was able to get it as a little bit younger, but it just kind of, I think it would take away from Belichick a little bit if, Brady was able to do the same thing in Tampa that he was with the Patriots, especially at his age. And you'd start to question how much of that is earned. And it kind of goes back to kind of what you think about Phil Jackson. I mean, Phil Jackson has the most titles, are right up there. I believe, if you go back to the Boston days, you might have an argument there. But as far as modern day NBA basketball, he won 11. But he won 11 with Michael Jordan and Shaq and Kobe. So, you kind of wonder, Scottie Pippen, obviously, how much of it is the players versus how much of it is the coaching. And I think that would take a bit away from him. And maybe in the long term, the discussion, if Tom Brady is able to win 2 this late in his career in Tampa, whether it's this year or next year or who knows how much longer we get Tom Brady, I think that takes away from Belichick. And he did well this year, was able to with Mac Jones make the playoffs, but that's not going to be factored in when you talk about the all-time discussion. So it's just kind of weird because we love these legacy discussions, but Brady's already got it under wraps, right? He's the greatest of all time as far as the quarterback position goes. So now you just kind of move that microscope, where else you can see it. And I think the coaching aspect of it is interesting if the Bucs are able to do it, especially if they're able to do it with the losses that they have. Obviously, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette out for the year. It's not going to be easy for them this year. I personally just don't know if Andy Reid can get into the discussion. I mean, I think that's a very premature to start mentioning that. I know the expectation is you're going to have Patrick Mahomes. You sign him to that huge deal. He's going to be great for who knows how long, right? But you're expecting the next 10 years, and you can jump into that discussion. But Andy Reid's also kind of up there in age. I don't know if he's going to finish out Patrick Mahomes' career as his coach. So it's not necessarily I don't think even if they win this year, I don't know if you completely take Belichick out of that spot, but you'd probably start to question a little bit.
Well, I also think there are some things to look at. As you said, I mean, Andy Reid he's 63 years old now. So, does he have 10? I mean, he's dealt with some health issues and he has some issues there. But one of the crazy things about his resume is that, I mean, he's won 5 NFC championships. Just didn't ever win the big one, but he did that without a Mahomes. He did it. Andy had gotten to a Super Bowl without Mahomes. He also won 5, of 6 of those. Those 5 championships with 6 different quarterbacks, whereas Belichick only won it with 1, right? So, when you're talking about coaches, to be able to do it and have those type of win clips and winning seasons, obviously he's finally got his one. That even just helps him to even be in the discussion. I think that's one thing to look at. Also, when I look at, just for me too, it's also just when I'm looking about legacy, I'm looking at, what they brought to the table. You know what I mean? So when I look at Reid, I look at his disciples. His disciples that he has also created, they've not only had playoff appearances that are double the number, multiply double, twice doubled the numbers of what Belichick's been able to do, right? So Belichick's been able to do it with under the scope of the Patriots. I mean, that's great organizational skills. That's great, honing and finding. Then you've got to look at just what Brady has been able to do. Brady has been able to raise the bar for players like Julian Edelman and guys that just revamp guys' careers, as in, who was kind of having trouble. You look at different players that have come through, Randy Moss and all those guys that have kind of come through there. They've kind of revamped guys. But I look at their disciples. I mean, the playoff appearances for the coaching trees, there's only been 4 playoff appearances in 27 seasons for Belichick's, and then there's been 18 in 45 seasons for Reid. I think that's something to kind of have to look at, right? 40% of their seasons end in playoffs, as opposed to 15% for Belichick. So Belichick has, he's achieved 71% of playoff appearance record, whereas 89%. He's done that as a head coach himself, whereas Reid's percentage points are just behind him, only at 70 overall, but 83% as a coach of the Chiefs. So, they have very similar combinations. I think also when you look at their coaching tree playoff records, Belichick's coaching tree is 1-5, whereas Andy Reid's is 18-15. So, I think Andy Reid has been able to translate that amongst those who are amongst his staff, which shows that his coaching abilities, have some translation to it, right? Whereas those that come under, Belichick's, it's just something I think to throw in there. Just, is it translatable outside? And now without the GOAT, the greatest player that you've had and that you basically found, is it something to say that he has a lot to do with it as opposed to your coaching skills? One other point I want to make is the game has changed though, right? Bach, the game has significantly changed. I think Belichick being one of the greatest defensive minds of all time, you know what I mean? Coming out of the era where you had the steel curtain and the purple, people eaters, and, you had all of the Raiders, it was defense. You had Ray Allen and the Ravens, and Belichick was part of that element, right? And so defense at that time was the focal point, and that's why he was able to get it done. Now that the game has transitioned and become more offensive orientated, now it seems like it's shifted into Andy Reid's realm. So Andy Reid is starting to see some successes and transcendence in what he does. And so if he does have that time, could he put a stretch together that can throw him in the mix a little bit more than what the conversation exists right now? I think it's possible. It's just going to depend on his health, and what he's been able to do with the Kansas City Chiefs has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and we'll see too. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that matchup with the Chiefs in Buffalo this weekend, because when we talk about legacies and propelling guys upward, I think Josh Allen, you go back to the quarterback, and I'll get back to the coaches in a second, but Josh Allen beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, what that could do to elevate him from what is probably already a top 6 quarterback in the league to being one of the guys, right? One of the guys that you enter the season saying that might be the best quarterback in the league. If you can do it against Mahomes, that would be a very big deal. But you can just kind of look at the coaching matchups in these games and break down, like you said, kind of what's working these days. And it seems to be more offense, kind of the younger minds on offense that are getting it done. Sean McVay with the Rams, obviously, still in the playoffs. Sean McDermott with Buffalo. Kyle Shanahan with San Francisco. Matt LaFleur at Green Bay. Zach Taylor, of course, we know, with Cincinnati. Those are all pretty young guys that have kind of come up with this big offensive movement over the last 10, 15 years. And so I don't know. It'd be hard to pick out one of those guys, which ones you want or which. I mean, but when we're talking about the greatest of all time, we're focusing in on Andy Reid and Bill Belichick as they wrap up the resumes. A lot of those young guys might, a few of them, I should say, might eventually try to break into that discussion as well. And this year might be the first year, like you said, you kind of need that Super Bowl win before you're going to talk about it. And Andy Reid got his a few years ago. Could be the same case for one of these young guys to break into it. And I think overall, you look at the other coaches that I didn't mention, Mike Vrabel, Bruce Arians, Andy Reid, that are in the playoffs. I think overall, if you had to rank them, you'd probably have Zach Taylor at the lowest point or just the starting point. It's his second year in the league, so that's nothing against him, and a big accomplishment for him to get Cincinnati their first playoff win since 1990. But I mean, he certainly could propel his name a little bit up the coaching ranks in the NFL. The further he gets Cincinnati, he's got a long, they got Tennessee this weekend, but as far as long-term prospects, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase already being one of the better connections in the league, he's going to have quite a fun career. And I know some Husker fans are interested in him, as far as a connection to the Husker program, as far as prospects down the line. If Scott Frost doesn't work or the next coach doesn't work out, it's looking, I'd say continue cheering for Zach Taylor. You're probably only going to get him on the downfall, side of his career if that does happen. But hopefully in his case, it doesn't. And he can still bring, attention to the program, being as a former Husker at the top level and providing that type of exposure for Nebraska football. Obviously, more than anything, Nebraska football has to win to get back into that discussion. But I'm just thinking right now, it's hard to project Zach Taylor coming around to Nebraska unless, he has a little bit more success with Cincinnati and then kind of falls down the ranks. But especially if you're talking about the success that he's had, he's probably lined himself up for another NFL opportunity down the line if it doesn't work in Cincinnati.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I don't think he's putting himself in a bad position to be able to move laterally somewhere or even get a better opportunity. There are some older coaches that are kind of, starting to find their way out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. He's been there. He's probably one of the longest tenured coaches for an organization in a while. Then you've got to look at guys like Gruden. I know Gruden had that situation. Will he ever get another opportunity out there? I don't know. There's still some, and I think Gruden's a good one. I hate that situation happened for him. It is something that did happen, unfortunately. But you hear it both ways, both sides of the coin there. You hear it, that he's a D-head, and then you hear it that he's, a coach, he's a player's coach, so you get that balance on both sides there. And then, it's just interesting kind of to see also with a lot of the openings, kind of who fills voids and who's going to fill in spots and, all of that. I think there's some good up and coming potential coaches out there with Bieniemy and the likes of them. Also Vance Joseph out there, there's guys like that have some great minds as well that just haven't gotten a look yet. I was very surprised that Bieniemy didn't get a better look. I thought he's positioned himself very well to get a good job out there. But being a coach also is important to look at where you're going. It's going to depend on the organization, what type of organizational backing you have. Are they committed to winning? Some people, would say organizations like Jacksonville or stuff like that, do they really want to win? Are they just happy to be owners or are they just happy to be there? So there's some, that's what I'm glad to see, that the Bengals have kind of come out of their 31, year hiatus and break through, because, I thought the Cleveland Browns would have broke through quicker, but, Baker Mayfield saw fit to get rid of one of the better receivers right now out here. And I know Odell Beckham is like loving heaven right now because of, that transition to be able to get in. I really thought they were on the verge. So what's going to happen with stuff like that? And then I feel bad, man. One of my close friends, Tim Grayman, is a big Detroit fan and loves the Lions. And, I've just consistently seen them have great, pieces, with Megatron and Barry Sanders and even one point Stafford was doing wonderful for them, and they just never really wanted to seem to put the extra pieces in there to make it successful. So, I would hope some of these not blue blood organizations, I would like to see more of the smaller organizations that have been around for a while to kind of make their way and make their leap. Even the Minnesotas and even the Jets, it's been so long for them. They've kind of been in the back burners of what New York Giants have been. And the New York Giants have been in the mud even over the last 6 to 10 years. So it's just interesting, man. We'll see how it all pans out. But I'm happy for guys like Ryan Tannehill, what he's been able to revamp his career, after everybody and their mom writ him off. So I love those types of stories as well. So I know I jumped around a little bit, but there's just things that have kind of popped to my mind when you're thinking about, the NFL game and how it is right now.
Oh yeah, and it's fascinating, and it is hard to kind of stay focused. I remember, even thinking, you think about the downtrodden franchises, and maybe they do take a chance on a Bieniemy or a coach that hasn't got their shot, like a Zach Taylor, and it can pay off for them down the line. But there are so many of those franchises that just have not been able to get it right for whatever reason. But you look at sometimes it just takes one guy or a combination of one guy gets it going. Like the Bucs haven't really been relevant for quite some time until Tom Brady gets
it. Comes there.
Easy example when he's with the greatest of all time. But it can just be, and it's frustrating for me because the Bucs have Bruce Arians, who used to coach for the Cardinals, my Cardinals. Their defensive coordinator also used to coach for my Cardinals. So they went elsewhere and helped win a championship. But,
I think something interesting to look at, Bach, as well, is what's going to happen when Aaron Rodgers leaves. The Green Bay Packers have been a cornerstone of being in the playoffs, making runs at championships, being pretty good for a good long time. What's going to happen, and how are they going to be able to transition after he leaves, and what is it going to look like for a blue blood organization like Green Bay? That's just something I think about, and it's like I can't really see it. I can't really see what happens thereafter.
Yeah, especially since there's been, kind of been the complaint, and I poke fun at it sometimes because I think he always has some all-pro weapons. So the complaint is a little bit too much that he doesn't get enough help. But I understand it's more than just one guy, and they don't always. They're just not a free agent destination, so that makes it kind of hard in Green Bay. But it is interesting because that's a franchise that's leaned on their quarterbacks over the years and not been able to get as much help as they wanted. So minus the quarterback, are they going to be able to kind of build? And if they aren't, that kind of opens it up to the division, which they've been stomping on for years. The Bears have been downtrodden. The Vikings have kind of been mediocre. The Lions we've talked about. So it would kind of open it up for an opportunity there. And the Bears, of course, interesting because, between them and Jacksonville, is there going to be a run at Jim Harbaugh? Will that change the dynamics of the Big Ten? So all this stuff is so fun to kind of speculate. And you get to do it right in the middle of the playoffs, right when there's a lot of great games. The Mel Kiper releases his draft board, and then those coaching vacancies. So there's always a lot going on with the NFL, and they make sure it's year round because we know it's the big ratings drawing, all year round. It gets the most clicks. It's just a dominant league in and of its own. But we'll make our picks, I think, tomorrow officially, going into the weekend. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't miss a pick on Wild Card Weekend.
See, that's what I'm saying, baby. You just got to keep taking your shot. You just got to keep taking your shot. You're going to hit sooner or later. Yeah, I was 1,000%, baby. We're going to do it again this weekend. We're going to pick it, baby. We going in. So right after this, we're going to take a break. Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to take a break. We're going to get over to Evan Bland with the Omaha World Herald. He's going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about, things Husker, whatever. Come back on the block with Strick and Bach. We'll be back right after this.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from Certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nebraska's never been really good, but they've never been this bad.
That is very telling about how bad it is right now.
Exactly. And it's not – Nebraska, it's always had a little bit of an identity where it was a team that would scrap with you. Sure. This isn't really a scrappy team.
I mean, the Doc Sadler, Sadler, they were never very talented, but my gosh, they scrapped. They played defense.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Another bitterly cold day on the way. After starting off near 0, we only climbed to around 17 this afternoon. Despite plenty of sunshine, a light south wind at around 10. Overnight, partly cloudy with a low down to around 4. Increasing cloud cover tomorrow, but warmer. We'll see an afternoon high of around 31. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and P and on South 14th Street.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancenE.com.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westell and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westell Street at Price Right Auto.
Old School with DP and J.
I always try to tell athletes, be where your cleats are, be in the moment, play by play, possession by possession. That's what Nebraska's women's team does so well. That's why nothing changes. It doesn't matter who's in the game. With the men, that's if they took a little bit of more of that mentality, you would see it. And they've shown games that they've done it. I've seen you do it against, other teams and kind of give the game away. You've seen it on the NC State, play in the moment, continue to play, but then you see the complete opposite.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back on the block here on 93.7 The Ticket. He's Eric Strickland. I am Jake Bachman. And right now we welcome on the Honda of Lincoln hotline 424-664-5685 our friend from the Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland. Evan, how are you doing today?
Hey, guys. Doing well. It's still cold outside. I can confirm that. But, doing well. How's it going?
It's not cold outside, Evan. What are you talking about?
I've heard the trick to lie to yourself, right? I mean, you can only lie to yourself for so long until you lose feeling in your extremities, and then you have to maybe come to terms.
Yeah, it certainly is still cold here in Lincoln. Strick is on remote, so he can make fun of us a little bit, but we still got it a little bit chilly. At least it's not snowing it though. That's.
I never thought 75. I never thought 75 was cold, Evan. I didn't know that.
He's down in Florida, so.
Just joking, my friend. Just joking.
But we'll bear through it.
Yeah, that's great. We have seasons here, so I guess we'll take it.
There is that 4 seasons in one day sometimes, but either way, we're also going to have to jump around a little bit from topic to topic. Evan, there's not a whole lot of like a news dump in any specific area, but there's kind of a lot going on. I wanted to start with kind of your thoughts on kind of the news by the NSAA board taking away Gretna's Class A football championship. They're vacating it. They even want the trophy back because of an ineligible player. Have you ever seen something like that? And do you know kind of more details about the ineligible player, kind of what's going on there?
A little bit. One of our colleagues, Stu Pospisil, had a story up on Omaha.com about that. But from the sound of it, Gretna had an ineligible player. So it had something to do with his domicile or his place of residence that he had listed was within the Gretna district, but where he actually lived was outside of that. So it's really unfortunate because it sounds like, at least with the facts that we know now, that the letter of the law was enforced by the NSAA, and they were in executive session for sounds like a few hours talking this through before they voted unanimously. But at the same time, you wonder about kind of the spirit of the law, and you wonder as the facts continue to come out, was this sort of a malicious attempt at competitive gain, or was this just kind of maybe a misunderstanding by something else? I think there are still facts that have yet to come out, but the bottom line is, I mean, you think back to that Class A championship, 7-3. Gretna beat Westside. It was a great game. And now officially that title's vacated. You got to feel for all those kids. I mean, most of whom you have to imagine were totally blindsided by what occurred. And, in their hearts, I'm sure they'll always consider themselves to be champs, and they earn that on the field. But it's just unfortunate for both sides. And, this sort of thing's been going on a long time, right? Where schools maybe recruit, or there's guys coming out of district, and you wonder with this high profile of a case or a precedent, if we'll start to see more of that moving forward. And I guess that's the other thing I would ask too, is the timing of it seems a little bit interesting to me, where this is a couple months removed from the championship. Or so, when was this known? How did this become known by the powers that be? I think those are all things, at least publicly, that we've yet to learn.
And like I said, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald joining us here. Like I said, I'm going to have to jump around a little bit because there's kind of different interesting things going on in different areas of the sports scene that we're covering here in Lincoln. Husker basketball game against Ohio State postponed due to COVID in the program. So no Husker hoops this week. And of course, women's basketball kind of dealing with the same thing. But for the men's team, it's hard to kind of come to a conclusion with this. Like, how much will it hurt them when they haven't won a game quite yet in Big Ten play? Do you have any takes that you think that how this will affect the team, other than just trying to get healthy for Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting, and I'm sure, Strick, you can sure speak to this, better than I can, but it seems like from a psychological perspective, maybe it's not the worst thing to take a step back from the grind and sort of reassess. And if you can't get out there, sort of prepare in other ways that maybe the grind of the season doesn't allow you to. But it does seem like on the flip side too, you just get Trey McGowan's back. He's just starting to get his legs under him. Played, I want to say, 13 to 15 minutes maybe in his last game. And it's unfortunate that you have to take a break for his sake at that time when he needs that court time. He needs time with his teammates to kind of rebuild that rapport. But I think overall, to me, the psychological part maybe is a little bit welcome, where they can take a little bit of a break, reassess what they've done. You hope it doesn't extend to the length that it did last season when they were, out for multiple weeks, and that sort of residual effect carried on and affected them down the stretch. But it's just unfortunate. It's the times we live in. We kind of knew this was inevitable as we saw COVID issues pop up across the Big Ten in weeks leading up to this. And, again, you just hope if you're within those walls that you use this as a positive and maybe start to reassess some things.
Yeah, that is the way I looked at it too, Evan. This is Eric again. I also want to just kind of turn it over to the women's side. I that's one thing I want to make sure that we kind of keep in, a little eye out there. I know we love to talk the men's sports, but the women's basketball team has been playing pretty good basketball. But I really want to shine a light on Alexis Markowski right now, who has just captured her 4th Big Ten Freshman of the Week award of the season. I think that's just phenomenal, for a young lady who came late and decided to make a change and stay with the Huskers and started not coming off the bench, getting small minutes, and now has found herself in the starting lineup. She's doing a wonderful job in just in this last, few weeks, in the second week as the starter, and she's the reigning U.S. Women's Basketball National Freshman of the Week. She's averaged almost 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, shooting 66% from the field, 77% in that also from 3, but also still shooting 71% for the season. I mean, what do you think about the women's basketball's prospects of popping into the top 25? And do you think they can still make some noise in this Big Ten? I know they faced a tough Iowa squad who's just, they're just like a juggernaut right now, the way that they're playing. But do you think the Husker women, have a chance to make some noise as we continue on in the rest of the Big Ten women's season?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I would say personally, I've watched more Nebraska women's basketball games this year than I have probably the last 3 or 4 years combined. And they're just a fun team to watch. They can beat you in so many ways. I mean, you mentioned Alexis Markowski, what she brings defensively, what she brings on the offensive side. She can shoot the 3 a little bit as well as inside. And then, Jazz Shelley on the outside. I mean, she's a high-end recruit that they have, running the point up top. And just watching the way that they beat Michigan, the way that they hung with Iowa in Lincoln and really hung with them on the road, despite being shorthanded. I mean, it was extremely impressive. And so even though they've lost a couple of games of late, like, the quality of play is still really high. They're playing very well offensively. They can beat you in a whole bunch of different ways. I think if there's one sort of, criticism or one area that you'd like to see them shore up to take that next level, it would be finding a way to shut down some elite individual scorers on the other side. I mean, we saw that with they held back Michigan's top scorer pretty well, but Caitlin Clark from Iowa got hers the last couple times out, and you'd love to maybe have a little bit better lockdown of the top scorers on the other side. But I mean, that's a team that if they can win in a lot of ways. If they're not hitting shots, they can still find a way to do it defensively or in transition or whatever else. And so, I think kind of like the men a little bit. I mean, the depth of the Big Ten, you have to factor that in when you're evaluating how good Nebraska is. And I think the women's side is awfully deep too. And even though they've dropped a couple, I would expect them to win plenty down the stretch. And to me, they're a solid NCAA tournament team at this point in the year.
And as we jump over one final topic jump here over to the football side of things, it's been a pretty exciting couple of months, obviously, since the season ended for Nebraska. And it's just kind of dawning on me that even though you're coming off a 3-9 year, there's just so much turnover, so much change in the portal and all that. I think you might have one of the more interesting spring games that we've had recently. I'm already looking forward to just because of all the position battles that'll be going on there. I know you probably don't have a list in front of you, but what are some of the battles and some of the names that we haven't seen that are joining the team that you're going to be interested to watch in the spring?
Well, I mean, obviously it starts with the quarterback spot. It's always a more interesting spring when that position is up for grabs. And really, since, the spring of 2018, we'd kind of known who that guy is going to be, that it would be Adrian Martinez. And so you have this situation where, yes, Casey Thompson is probably your odds-on favorite to win the job. He's the resident veteran. He started 10 games last year. But I think what makes it more interesting is the presence of Chubba Purdy, who was another hand-picked quarterback brought out of the portal by Mark Whipple, who had recruited Purdy in high school. He was the first call that he made when he went back to the portal back in November. So that fascinates me. I mean, I think it's a different discussion if it was just Casey Thompson and, the other returners, Logan Smothers, Heinrich Harburg, and Richard Torres, who's coming in. But to me, it does take on the feeling of a true competition, even if you can still acknowledge that Thompson's that guy. So I think quarterback certainly would be your top spot there. You start to look at the moves that Nebraska made in just the last 6 weeks or so. And what makes the spring especially interesting to me is the fact that they have 16 early enrollees on campus. So you're talking 16 new players, whether that's high school, junior college, or out of the portal, that are immediately enrolled in classes, that are immediately eligible in spring and will be factors in the fall. And so most of what they brought in was on the offensive side of the ball. So, beyond quarterback, you're talking about, Trey Palmer, the former 5-star from LSU, or Isaiah Garcia Castaneda from New Mexico State, who was a productive player there. I mean, I think the wide receiving group is totally being remade from what it's been. And Mickey Joseph has done some serious work, even in his, 5 or 6 weeks here on the job, in reshaping that room. So that's fascinating. Running back is, you just don't know. It's been a total toss up for a long time. The last 2 years, I think we're not going to find an answer to that this spring necessarily, but the question that it's been for a long time, and I think it'll continue to be, is, can somebody emerge from that group? Can they find a feature back? Because Nebraska wants there to be a feature back, but nobody's taken that job and run with it yet. So, is Anthony Grant that guy, the JUCO addition from New Mexico Military Institute? Is it somebody else who's already in the room? So I think that's a few, but overall, to me, offensively especially, is going to be really interesting to see how things are reshaped and remolded.
Well, once again, thank you for covering the wide world of sports here in Nebraska. Excellent source to do it. Evan Bland of the Omaha World-Herald. We're going to have to let you go because we're up against break, but we'll just hope that you can stay warm here for the remainder of the night.
Yeah, we'll give it a try. Pleasure, guys. Thanks.
All right, thanks. There he goes. Evan Bland of the Omaha World-Herald. He should be set to join us. We have a little bit of a scheduling conflict, so every Wednesday is going to be the hope moving forward with Evan Bland. We'll try to set that aside and get a weekly conversation with him. But here on the block, we have one more segment to round out the show, Hitting the Hardwood, our time to talk some NBA with Strick. And today, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook getting benched at the end of games. Frank Vogel apparently has the approval to do it. What are the locker room dynamics when such a heavily paid player can't quite carry his weight, at least in the crunch time? We'll talk about that next with Strick here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Now what do we do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in West O, and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our Peace of Mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In basketball over the weekend, it was a dramatic week for city schools. Lincoln North Star lost this weekend to Elkhorn South 64-61 in overtime. Lincoln Southwest would also lose in overtime to Gretna 59-54. Lincoln Pius X rolled past Omaha Bryan 74-38. Sam Hastrider led all scorers with 22. Lincoln Southeast won over Omaha Benson 75-65. Lincoln Northeast lost to Miller North 71-55. They could not slow down Green from Miller North, who would end the night with 28 points, leading all scorers. Lincoln High lost to Millard South 63-53. Norris would fall just short against Creek, losing 57-52 in overtime. In basketball on Monday, Waverly fell to Bennington 66-59. The girls would also lose to Bennington 49-37. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations? Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you? Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from Certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and P and on South 14th Street.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach here on 93.7 The Ticket, rounding things out here on a Thursday. Just patiently waiting for our Friday show to start, obviously. All we do ever think about is On the Block. As soon as it ends, we start thinking about the next episode. But it is time for Shootout with Strick here on 93.7 The Ticket. Like I said, On the Block. Strick, we always talk a little bit of NBA basketball to round out the show, and today I think we have a good topic. Los Angeles Lakers management has apparently told Frank Vogel, the head coach, that he is able to do whatever he sees fit with Russell Westbrook, and that included benching him at the end of last night's game. Obviously, for a long time, people have wondered whether the Russell Westbrook fit would work in the kind of that big three dynamic with the Lakers without, his shooting capabilities. That's always been something that's kind of held the former MVP back. Last night against Indiana, they pulled him with about 4 minutes to go as he was having trouble guarding Karis LeVert. And of course, tries to kind of take over at the end of games often and was not being able to get it done. He even left the floor as there were still, I think, 8 seconds remaining or somewhere around then, and got to the locker room before teammates could finish showering up. He was out of the building, very frustrated. Obviously, maybe more so with himself. Sometimes we tried to shine a bad light on how bad of a teammate he is. None of the Lakers teammates seem to care too much about him leaving the floor or getting out of the locker room too quickly. But it does make you kind of wonder what the future is for Westbrook in Los Angeles, what the future is for Vogel, and if things are rockier than maybe we expected with them hovering around 500.
Well, here's something that bodes well for Coach Frank Vogel. He's established a pretty solid relationship with LeBron James. That's the dynamic that's a little bit uniquely different than when I played. It was very coach heavy. The coach pretty much had the reins on things, and then it was a shift, and then the players began to have more of the power, right? So having LeBron James in your staff, I mean, he quoted last night, after the game, he quoted that the coaching staff has been great. He said, they put us in a position to succeed, and it's up to us to go out and handle the business. So there's always things that we can do better. That doesn't sound like something that really is like in the backing of Westbrook, so to speak, right? So I think, him shooting 5 for 17, he can be a liability at the free throw line, turnovers, different things like that. And then his shot selection, he sometimes is one of those ones that can go into hero mode. I think that's where the frustration came with Kevin Durant. I mean, I think they had something very, very good going there at Oklahoma State. And I think as they got into playoff games and they got into serious series in the playoffs, I think he began to see that Westbrook was a liability. And so he went for greener pastures there in Golden State. So I think giving him that power is good. You know what I mean? So in the last 5 games, the Lakers being 1-4, they've got to look and see who's going to give us the best opportunity at the end of games to succeed and win. You know what I mean? So one of the things that I do not hope that they're doing is they're trying to use Westbrook as a scapegoat. Here's why. I think that this is the team that LeBron James built. He pretty much, with the GM and Jeannie Buss and that whole group, basically said what he wanted, and they gave him what he wanted. Westbrook was what he wanted. They gave up a lot to get it, and that's going to set them back 5 to 8 to 10 years when it's all said and done, right? So he's got to be able to take some of the onus on that as well. I hope that they don't use him as the scapegoat, because we all knew, I knew, let me just say we didn't know, maybe you didn't, but I knew that this was going to be basically like trying to put clay on steel or clay on iron, that it just wasn't going to mesh, right? It was going to be very fragile. It was going to be some things that just wasn't going to mesh, and we're starting to see the light of that.
Well, it's interesting too, because some of the quotes are, he, like Carmelo was saying, he's not used to this, so it's gonna, but it's hard to be, when you're a former MVP, when you have the competitive spirit that he has, it's gonna be hard to get used to being benched at the end of games because the coach sees fit. I mean, and then the other part of it, and we'll get into that in a second, it's just what he's paid. I mean, as an organization, it's hard to look at that paycheck and say, well, we got to take that guy. That's kind of the Ben Simmons problem with the playoffs last year, right? Is we if we're paying this guy this much, we can't take him out at the end of the games. That's what we need those guys. That's what we're paying him to be out there for. But I do think the Carmelo Anthony aspect might help in the long run, of course, because Carmelo had problems swallowing, kind of giving up on his ego a little bit, and it almost cost him his chance to get back in the league. Eventually he did, and was one of the best 6 men of the year a couple years ago in Portland. Do you think that maybe that can help, I guess, Westbrook kind of get into that mode, or do you think that it's just the competitor in Westbrook's going to be too much, that he's always going to want to be the guy at the end of the games? I mean, it makes sense.
he's got to be able to take as we age, right? Sometimes we still think that, and the same thing happened for Allen Iverson, right? It was very similar type of situation for Allen Iverson. It was very hard for him to feel as if he wasn't that guy. They kind of bowed to it for a little bit, and then at some point they just said, you know what, we can't do it. You've got to be able to swallow your pride and kind of humble yourself. Take that pressure off of you a little bit. And the thing with Westbrook is that there's the wonderful things that he does well, but then he also hinders and brings a hindrance to the team, the inconsistencies in different areas that he has. And I think if he would just really humble himself and begin to just look at the ways in which he can help the team and be of that, I think they would be tremendously better. But who can, the other dynamics that's working against him is that he's back home. He's back home, Bach. When a guy gets back around his family, his friends, you go into the crypto center and you're like, I'm the guy. I'm back home. I got to do my thing. That can be a hindrance to that humbling aspect of it, because everybody and their mama's like, man, they treating you like this, man. They sticking it to you, man. Boom, 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 and you're like, yeah, man, yeah, they doing it to me. So that's the part that's gonna be hard to get over.
Yeah, and we'll see what it remains for the Lakers. I'm a Celtics fan, so I can't say I cheer for them, but I do acknowledge that the NBA is better when the Lakers are involved. So kind of hope that they can figure it out to a degree. But, of course, I think we all kind of, like you said, maybe saw it coming. Wrapping up here, final 5 seconds of the show. So thank you for sticking with us. Ticket Weeknights is up next on The Block. We'll return tomorrow.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for